November 7th, 2015, number 8 TCU at 14 Oklahoma State. TCU entered the game undefeated. The Cowboys quarterback Mason Rudolph and James Washington connected for 3 long touchdowns. The final Oklahoma State 49 and TCU 29. Ravon Boykin's Heisman hopes and a chance at the college football playoff ruined. And now, today, FS1's college football sponsored by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry. And TCU hopes to return the favor to a Cowboys team that's on the precipice of making a strong move. And just a moment ago, our Bruce Feldman, the third member of our broadcast team, spoke with Cowboys head coach Mike Gundy.
Mike, the home team has won each of the past 4 times you guys have faced TCU. What concerns you most in this matchup here today?
Well, they're a really good team. They're playing considerably better now than they were a month ago. They're healthy, and obviously they can move it on offense, and Gary does a great job on defense. Should be a great game.
Mason's been on a tear in this 6-game win streak. What's been the difference in his play of late?
I think he's just maturing. More reps he's getting, developing in his career, and he's playing with a lot of confidence.
Thanks, Coach. Back to you, Tim.
All right, thanks, Bruce. There's Gary Patterson, his counterpart, Roselle, Kansas native, a safety and linebacker at Dodge City Community College, then Kansas State. Hence all of the defensive requisite tools of concern that his program has had for so many years. And Spencer, it is going to be a match of the schematics of Mike Gundy and the defensive antics of Gary Patterson. Give me your 4 keys to the game.
Well, Timmy, you know that Coach Patterson is not a big blitz guy, but with 2 weeks prepare, as you alluded to, he's going to have a little something extra for this outstanding quarterback. And we'll see whether or not the Cowpokes signal caller can respond to that. That's going to really be the key for him. And then for TCU, somehow they've got to get some more robust passing threat established. We'll likely see more called runs, as we pointed out, for Kenny Hill, but not because they want to. They've just not thrown the ball well consistently in the second half of the season.
Cole Bunce kicks it away, and Barry J. Sanders takes it at his 6-yard line. Oklahoma State won the toss, elected to receive, and they'll have it at their 18-yard line after the 12-yard return. And let's get what to watch for when Mason Rudolph and the Cowboys have the football.
Continuing the theme, let's see if Mason Rudolph can remain sharp in the throw game. He's completing over 70% of his passes over the last 2 starts. TCU has to affect him somehow. The best chances to have Traven Howard, the linebacker who leads the Big 12 with 12 tackles, in the best possible situation to affect him. He's a converted safety, so he's got athleticism. Let's see if he can get to this quarterback.
Justice Hill will open up in the backfield. The tight end, Zach Veach, lines up in front of him as an H-back, and he'll follow Veach, but not for very far, maybe a yard to the 19, and that is all. Aaron Curry, number 95, senior transfer, made the stop.
Justice Hill has been such a positive asset for this young kid out of Tulsa, Booker T. Washington. Outstanding athleticism. He's got a 41-inch vertical jump, that explosiveness. Coach Gundy is hoping it will convert and continue to make plays.
2nd down and 9. Veach again motions and moves into the slot. Play fake. Rudolph with time. Dumps it on his check down. Incomplete and nearly picked off.
Don't know if the sun got in his face there, but again, you can see that Justice Hill had a tough time handling that when he's in the end zone where that sunlight's coming in his face, perhaps. That ball's over the top of his head. Could have been a little bit more accurate, but gets his hand on it. You got to make that play.
Denzel Johnson had a chance at it. That could have been a pick 6 off the tip drill. 3rd down and 9. Chris Lacey had a big game a week ago.
TCU just rushing 3.
Rudolph. Pressure. He can be resourceful, and he's got the 1st down out to the 32-yard line. Nico Small, number 2, the free safety from Arlington, Texas, Bowie High School, made the stop.
We're getting a lot of shots here. What the scheme is, a lot of games and deals in the inside, but when you're playing 3-man, you got to be careful with your run fits.
Carson just into the game for Hill, and he stopped at the line of scrimmage, may have lost a half yard. And Traven Howard made the stop, number 32, the aforementioned star of this team. There you see the story on Mason. 18 touchdowns, just 2 picks. He went a long period of time without throwing an interception. That ended against Texas Tech. Looking long for Washington.
Wow.
Back shoulder throw. He had to adjust, and he was into the sun, as you mentioned a moment ago on that first pass. Small and Denzel Johnson, the two safeties, were back there with him.
And he almost made that difficult catch again. Nico Small, the free safety, was there again on the immediate defense of that play and kind of got a hand on it late. But again, the protection up front is really what made that possible. Marcus Keys and company, all of them giving the quarterback the time he needs to make that big throw. That's a 50-50 ball. We've seen him catch that in the past.
I don't know that that's a 50-50 interference call not made. Third down and 10. Wow. Rudolph again checks down, throws it to Carson. And the big burly back is out ahead to the 43-yard line. That was the line to make. Traven Howard ushered him out of bounds, but it's enough for a first down.
Yeah, it's the change up there with Carson. He's about 6'1", 215 out of Parkview. A little bit bigger, chunkier, but they'll throw the ball to him. Got to be able to have both those skill sets with this team.
Couple of good ad-lib jobs by Rudolph. You notice his composure, both when he is flushed from the pocket or simply checks down.
Oh,
a little chicanery. Carson's going to chuck it. Well, that was almost picked off. Both Nico Small and Tejada, Ranthony Tejada, had a shot at it. Numbers 11 and 2.
When you get the more mature backs in there throwing, this probably never should have thrown this ball, at least intentionally should have thrown it out of field. Not enough on it. Put that in harm's way, and possibly an interception. Should have had that one. Nico Small, the free safety there.
Both were pretty close.
Yep.
So Mike Gundy and his offensive coordinator Mike Yurcich decide to go to the well with a trick play to start this series. The delay of Justice Hill. It pops open for him, and he takes it inside the 40 to the 38-yard line. Denzel Johnson, the senior from Gainesville, Texas, made the tackle. A converted quarterback and running back. Another one of those guys that Gary Patterson gets and converts from offense to defense. First down. That's a quick out. And it's good to the 30-yard line to Blake Jerwin, the tight end. Jarwin, redshirt senior from Tuttle, Oklahoma.
Ranthony Texta out of there, the linebacker playing in coverage that time, called with the responsibility of standing him up, made a nice tackle, but not before a sizable gain.
Second and 2. Looking for the fade, and it is incomplete. Intended for Jawan Seals. You mentioned him in the open, Spencer. He's so athletic. At 6 feet 205, and Julius Lewis, who's been battling injury, was with him.
Yeah, Julius then showing no signs of that injury, then working with the sideline to squeeze it as much as he could. But Seals did a nice job of adjusting back into that ball to give himself a little latitude there along the sideline. Just couldn't come up with it.
Third down and 2. First drive of the game, Oklahoma State. 11th play of the drive. Hill is blown up behind the line. Great penetration from Denzel Johnson.
Well, Denzel came in there with his hair on fire right off that edge right there, just blows it up. Negative play in the backfield. Man, you're talking about number 30. He's going to be all over the place today. Active, enjoyed talking to him yesterday. Passionate guy, understands his skill set.
They are going for it on fourth down.
Man, this is a aggressive call here.
Probably too far for the field goal. And they figure they've gone pretty well on third and longs. Why not give it another shot? And it's incomplete. Again, great pressure off the corner. Washington, the intended receiver. But it was Ty Summers, 42, that came through blitzing that hurried that throw. And they turn it over on downs. 12 plays, and it ends here.
Yeah, pressure there. Again, that was a nice little wrinkle. Not letting them back and pick you apart. Outstanding job.
Horned Frogs will have it when we come back. I love that flag. Just a thing of beauty. We welcome you back. TCU's got the ball, and what do we watch for?
Well, it's about, stopping Kyle Hicks. He's healthy now. He's the Horned Frogs' leading rusher, 789 yards, 14 TDs, 12 rushing, 2 receiving, and that's the guy. Devontae Averett, number 40, will be put in a position and challenged to stop him.
And right away, Kyle Hicks is stopped by Chad Whitener, who's returning from injury. He had a neck problem that forced him out of the Texas Tech game. And then Justin Phillips, who stood up for him, played extremely well. But Whitener, the original walk-on, is an outstanding talent. They're really happy to have him back. Loss of 3 on that play, so 2nd and 13.
And Whitener's wearing a little collar that's a little bit different now because of that neck injury that he's got, number 45.
Option towards the boundary, and Kenny Hill. We heard Gary Patterson talking about it. He wants Doug Meacham and Sonny Cumbie, his co-offensive coordinators, to have some called run plays to get him lathered up.
Well, he did there, and he optioned off of Kurt Tucker, again, this strong side linebacker, on that last play, and he just deked him, man, and went straight upfield for a nice gain.
3rd down and 6. Trips to the bottom of your screen. Jalen Austin, number 15, is a burner. Sophomore from Grand Prairie. Looking for him.
Nice grab.
He does grab it, but he's shy of the first down. Forward progress will get him to the 40. That's a yard shy of the first down. Ramon Richards, number 7, wrapped him up. So 4th down and a yard to go.
Working at that Z position, Jalen Austin, number 15, does a nice job of climbing the ladder and going plucking that ball out on his backside shoulder there. That's concentration. This team really is playing at another level. I think maybe the inflection point for them was Baylor. I thought the 2 weeks off may be a problem for them, but so far the execution is excellent on both sides of the ball for Coach Patterson's team.
He's coaching in his 200th game here at TCU. His winning percentage 74.4% in 16 years. What a remarkable job he has done. Fair catch is made at the 23-yard line by Barry Sanders. More of Mason Rudolph. Can he get his big play guy, James Washington, over the top as he has so many times before? Nothing, our score just underway. Bruce Feldman's downstairs about all the drama within the Big 12, right? The incestuous world of coaching, right, Bruce?
That's right, Tim. Last year, J.W. Walsh was a quarterback for Oklahoma State and scored a touchdown against TCU. This year, he's on the Horned Frog staff as a graduate assistant, and that fact is something Oklahoma State coaches have had to factor in. Mike Gundy told me earlier this week he already changed 50% of their signals this offseason. He said we'll probably change 25% more for this game, and I'm 100% sure that he's going to be on the headset talking to Gary Patterson during this game.
That was Cumbie in front of him in the foreground, and we circled JW. There's a lot of underground between Oklahoma State and TCU, no doubt about it. Cumbie came obviously as a former quarterback at Texas Tech, but Meacham played in the 80s.
Nice.
Look at that run by Chris Carson. A high hurdle to go with it, out for 20 yards, a first down, taken out at the 43 by Denzel Johnson.
The most important part of that run, the most impressive part, Anthony Tejada was on that receiving, and he just leaped right over the top of him, did Carson.
The whiff. First down. Rudolph brought down. You know, he had Carson on a check down, did not give it up. TCU gets just under 4 sacks per game. That's Caraway, 94, coming away with that one. That's tops in the Big 12. It's 2nd in the country. They have at least 1 sack in 39, now 40 straight games. Only Clemson a longer streak.
Marcus Keys and all those guys, you can get really comfortable and spoiled in the pocket. You got to have that internal clock working because you know this is going to be an active front. They may just come with 3, but their motors are going to be working 100 miles an hour every single play.
Justice Hill is the setback, 2nd and 16.
Nice.
Rudolph overshoots his man, James Washington, who was running across.
Yeah,
He'd love to have that one back because he was there. He was there.
Tejada was in his hip pocket. He had him, and it was double coverage, but the coverage was coming over the top. The guy he needed to beat, Anthony Tejada, was actually already beaten. It was a nice slant route. They've done that pitch and catch. We've seen him do it many times so far this season.
Blake Jarwin is coming at tight end. He'll be the slot man to the bottom of your screen. And now they motion him back into the backfield on 3rd down and 16.
Gary's going to play coverage, and
they decide to run it. Carson will be stacked up at the 40-yard line. So not much on this series. Ty Summers does the job, the sophomore from San Angelo, Texas.
Yeah, number 42 stuck his nose in, and that's a huge win when you've got 3 down linemen with so many yards to go playing the bulk of your numbers on the back end. Those guys have got dual run fit responsibilities, meaning they're responsible for 2 gaps. So you got to have good run fits and play with integrity, and that was excellent football there by Summers.
Zach Seiner punted it 3 times last week for 43.3 yards. Did the job pinning Texas Tech in deep territory. Cavante Turpin takes it. He's a speed merchant, and he's going to be hammered at the 3-yard line. He would have been a much wiser choice to let that one go into the end zone. 54 yards, -4 on the return as Terry Tillman, reserve wide receiver, comes down to pick him up. This kid is an electrifying talent, but he should have let that one go right through the end zone. Timeout. FS1 College Football is sponsored by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry. All of that green that you see to the background is the Colonial Country Club, where Hogan made himself so famous as a young golfer. And of course, you take a look at the terrain in front of Oklahoma State. They have yielded the toughest and had the best all year. Look at that. #1 from a defensive standpoint in terms of starting field position. And kicks like that from Seiner have helped give Mike Gundy that advantage. Kyle Hicks is going to line up right behind his quarterback Kenny Hill in the end zone.
A little pistol formation for you. Oh, a face mask.
Yeah, that's clear. Gerald Owens got him, and he's upset about it. Wishes that had not have happened to him. No doubt about it, as he was trying to spin him down. And that eliminates the positive field position off that punt by virtue of the penalty.
Owens working at his defensive end position there. Clearly had that paw out.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. Number 21 may remain in the game.
You know, when you got those white gloves on in particular, it sure flashes up against those dark helmets.
Yes, it does.
Hard to hide that. You can see the ride mesh point. You can see Owens' hand go up there and get him clearly on the cage.
Yeah, he felt badly about it.
He did. He let go quickly.
Reggie Smith is our referee today. Jack McDonald is our replay official from Salt Lake City. And on first down, Hill with time. And that pass is caught by Jalen Austin, just shy of the 30.
Well, Glenn Spencer, the defensive coordinator for Oklahoma State, has found something the last 3 weeks that have worked well for him. Just the 3-man front, and they'll give you a little bit underneath, but they're not going to beat you over the top. That's what they're saying with their scheme.
It's actually second down and short. Second down and about a half yard. They did not give him the 39. It's about the 38 and a half. And right away, Hicks is going to be hammered from behind the line. Great penetration that time. That's Walter Scheid, 82, that got through there.
Well, Cole really came off his block. You can see him reach here on the outside. That's how you play your technique down. You know you've got contained, but if everything washes down, you've got the ability to discard that guy as he did so well and then come back and play your technique. That's textbook right there, defense.
Cole Walter Scheid, number 82. There you see the third down and short numbers. 3rd and 2 or less. They have not been able to convert them. They do this time, however, with the option pitch. And Hicks with the first down. Jordan Stearns pulls him down.
That looked like Jamel Holloway out there dealing it on the perimeter, coming downhill, reeling that key, and dealing at the last minute. Outstanding job there. Execution of the option game, man. That's nice.
You left out the Spencer Tillman running it off the pitch from Jamel there.
Yeah, we had so many of them out there doing it, boy. Patrick Collins out of Tulsa.
1st and 10 from the 39-yard line. They go with a stretch play to Hicks this time. Oklahoma State responds. Trey Flowers, this young man has really played well. He has teamed with Vincent Taylor on the Big 12 for so many blocked 2-point conversions and major plays. Long jumper on the track team. These two guys have been huge. You can make a case that Taylor could be the most impactful player defensively in this league, and Flowers is not far behind.
That's a trend you're seeing with some of these strong safeties who they're asking to defend the run and also have athleticism to cover slot receivers. He's one of them.
Nice. On the read, it's to Hicks. Another hammered at the 40. I don't think there was mask there. I think he got him on the back end of his helmet. Devontae Averett made the stop. Third down coming up.
It just made me look more wicked than it really was. Averett jumps over the top to make a great play in space. And it's a nice little tandem there to stop in and keep that run to a minimum.
Had a clothesline look to it,
yeah, did.
But he got none of the helmet. A good no call. Third down and 8. Pressure, and Hill gets away from it. Over the middle. They're going to rule it incomplete. Trying to scoop it up was John Diarse, the LSU transfer, number 9. Young man played at Neville High School in Monroe, Louisiana. Could not come up with that one.
Traylon Weber, number 89, was the guy that skunked him out of there. And you can see him. He kept fighting, and how he got out of that. That's a little Houdini act. But he shows you his athleticism, throws back across his body. We've seen that a lot in the last few weeks. But again, just couldn't come up with that athletic play.
Adam Nunez will punt it away, the redshirt freshman from Houston Second Baptist School. Barry J. Sanders is back deep as he angles it for the boundary. Barry will take it on the bounce, and he dropped it. It's loose. It's still loose. Inside the 10. TCU should have it at the 6, and they do. Huge mistake by young Sanders there.
And Timmy, this is one of the outputs of a game that can change everything. Oklahoma State is the team known and a +8, +12 in creating turnovers against the opposition. But in this case, Sanders couldn't get the handle on this ball and puts the home team in a favorable position to score.
Paul Whitemill, reserve linebacker, number 44, comes out of the scrum with it. He's the trailing defender, and eventually he would wind up on top of it after the ball bounced around.
Wow.
Huge error in special teams by the Cowboys, giving TCU a great opportunity. That's Johnson, 24, just into the game. Tremoris, junior from Houston, Texas, stopped by Chad Widener, number 45.
Yeah, if Chad's not in his place, they may score on that play, but Chad came from his middle linebacker position, headhunting. Made a great play. There's Sanders there, boy. I tell you, nothing will suck the life out of a team quicker than to lose the ball and the handle on it backed up against your own end zone.
Second and goal. Hicks is back in the game now. And they come the other way with Turpin. Turpin! Over the end zone. It should be a touchdown. They're going to give it to him. He lost it once he crossed the plane.
I think it's safe that they're going to look at that, Tim.
Yeah, but it's going to count.
Yep, Turpin's showing you some of that athleticism. This is what they would miss when he was dinged up a little bit. Sonny Cumbie and Doug Meacham, the co-offensive coordinators, have been looking for these types of decision-making plays.
That's a pass officially because it was a little shovel across the way to the receiver coming the other way, but that's going to stand up. That will be a touchdown. All you have to do is cross the plane.
That's a touchdown. What's a great individual effort, great team effort, showing you the leg drive to continue. Turpin's not a big guy, but again, he shows you the want to there. His knees are on top of the defender underneath him, and that ball extends it.
He made a mistake by fielding that punt earlier, but Sanders made a bigger one by not being able to field his inside the 10-yard line. And the sophomore from Monroe Neville High, who had been hurt, they really lost a lot of their explosive capability when he was gone. It showed up in that Texas Tech game. A bit of an anomaly for the two schools to be going into overtime, and it's 17-all at one point. Here's the call.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
Brandon Hatfield now comes in for the extra point.
And Tim, the difficult truth is Taj Williams, although he is the leading receiver, and Manuel Porter and others really at the Z position haven't been that productive as they were a year ago. That's why they're so desperate to get players back in those wide receiver positions to open this offense up.
And that's blocked.
Wow.
Kirk Tucker comes back with it. TCU does manage to recover. But that missed extra point looms large if this one is as close as we think. It began with the muff on the punt from Sanders and enabled TCU's Cavante Turpin, the super soft from Fun Row, to get in the end zone for TCU. Six to nothing TCU. And Spencer, he did it again. We were just talking about Vincent Taylor. He and Trey Flowers with all these block kicks. This is his 4th of the season.
Yeah, he gets skinny in that A gap right there. Just a nice job of just splitting, bull rushing, getting that hand up. That's outstanding alertness to get to mid on the ball, but more importantly, to get through that A gap skinny. That's tough for a 310-pounder to do that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's first team all Big 12, could be the defensive player of the year in a lot of respects. This really helps. You lose a close game or you win a close game on the basics of those types of plays, individual efforts. And if this one's close down the stretch, remember what happened. That's the most of the FBS that the team has, and due in large part to Taylor. Sanders awaits the kick. Trying to atone for the muff. He gets it out to the 32-yard line. And now let's get a Carl's Jr. and Hardy's game break. Here's Mike Hill in Los Angeles.
Hey, guys, we had a shakeup in the top 4, as you know, last week. Could we have one this week? Number 2, Ohio State and Michigan State. After the Sparty scored on the second play of the game, Buckeyes answer. J.T. Barrett finds Curtis Samuel. 24 yards gets him the touchdown. We are tied at 7 midway through the first quarter. Tim and Spencer.
Got some weather there in Lansing, Michigan for that one, too. Justice Hill is in the backfield. Thank you, Mike. As Oklahoma State begins this series from the 32. And it's a quick out to Washington, trying to get him involved and get him an early touch. He stopped at the 40-yard line.
Yeah, they're working on Tejada there, the left cornerback, to the boundary side, which is the short side of the field, number 11.
2nd and 3. Hill again.
Oh, he's slippery.
He is. He really is. Out to the 48. And really the perfect complement to Chris Carson. Stop was made by Denzel Johnson. We've called his name a lot. The converted quarterback running back, number 30.
He never gives you 100% of his body.
Little slip screen out to him, and he's stopped this time after a gain of 2. That Boson, very healthy and improved young man, number 9. 6'4", 235 from Torrance, California. West High School made the tackle.
Matt's one of these spirited guys that they were going to rely on a lot to carry them. This team only has 8 seniors on scholarship. They're looking for leadership across the board. He's an underclassman, but he's a leader.
2nd down and 8. Carson, and it breaks wide open for him. Inside the 40 to the 35-yard line.
This is a read it and weep move right here when he breaks that line of scrimmage and then gets his shoulders upfield. Carson runs with authority, and they're going tempo right now. This is what they like to do, and they're moving it.
Traven Howard made the tackle. To go behind Beach this time. Inside the 35 to the 33-yard line.
That play looks nondescript, but again, you can see Carson running, getting as much as a defense would give him. Short gain, but now you're conscious of the fact that he can run inside. So let's see if they bring down an extra defender.
2nd and 7, and they go fade again for Lacey. He brought it down, I believe, at the 2-yard line. He did. The junior from DeSoto right over Julius Lewis.
Well, Julius playing that right corner position. You talking about eyeing that football and high pointing it at its highest point and pulling it down. It doesn't get any better than that. Textbook.
30 yards, and they're on the doorstep. And Carson is stopped a yard behind the line of scrimmage by Denzel Johnson. This tells you why a tall, athletic player can win in these 50-50s.
Well, it's big gaze, big plays. NC State great Torrey Holt coined that phrase, and this is a big day for both these teams. They're looking for big plays from every position, particularly the skill position, for this talented and deep Oklahoma State receiving corps.
Chris Carson has 6 touchdowns, only 42 carries. He's in the backfield now. A great touchdown ratio for Justice Hill when he's in the game. But right now it's Carson back there on 2nd and goal. Play fake, and it's right there, and Veach dropped it. Beautiful call.
L.J. Collier was playing him and eventually let him go. And Rudolph saw him release, but again, the pressure in his face, the combination of that was a little bit too much. It obstructed him. So you can see the defensive there. They let him slip out. But again, 2 bodies. And Rudolph's face was just a little bit too much for him to get that away cleanly.
3rd down. Ball at the 3-yard line. I love the call.
Oh, it was a great call.
But he's not really the receiving tight end. Blake Jarwin is. He's more of the blocking tight end. Carson remains the lone setback. For Lacey in the corner in the back, and they give it to him. Touchdown, Cowboys. How about the patience of Mason Rudolph there?
Well, he's a surgeon in shoulder pads working on that same guy, Julius Lewis, in the back. And you can see they've got him split out in a twins formation. No crossing route needed. This is an isolated slant inside. And Julius Lewis really didn't have a chance on that play. That's an outstanding pitch and catch there. Wonderful job by this tandem. Chris Lacey and company. They're just fantastic to watch, Timmy.
Mason Rudolph did not. I mean, he didn't flinch. He waited for his receiver to get free before he released the pass. Not every quarterback you see at the collegiate level has such patience. His 25th touchdown toss to only 2 interceptions thrown. Lacey with the acrobatic catch along the sidelines. You start it, you finish it. And the Cowboys lead by 1. Nine plays, 68 yards, 2:52 off the clock. Lacey the big 30-yard reception to get them there, and then he collects the 3-yard score. They've been outscoring opponents in the first quarter by a large margin. That's the best in the Big 12, 12th in the FBS. And then they've relied on a stingy defense to hold order in the 4th quarter. Devontae Turpin is back deep, backtracks and will hit a knee, and a touchback coming. Happy to have DirecTV's Blimp with us today. Our aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
What a beautiful shot that is. This beautiful facilities here, newly renovated.
I could hang in Fort Worth for a long, long time. It's not that far down I-20 from my home, as you know, and nearby Shreveport. And the scenery is wonderful. The golf is fantastic, and the football is magnificent.
Yeah. So are the people too. Mark Cohen, the SID, gave us a nice grand tour yesterday and saw some of these palatial facilities. They take care of you, man. It's a beautiful place.
Founders Club here with a minimum of $15 million for 6 incredible suites that they have on display. And their fan base, I mean, you talk about building it privately in a private school, they did it. All these buildings are paid for, and it makes for a tremendous environment. Kyle Hicks with the run, stopped by Jordan Stearns. Last year, I got to see Dan Jenkins down there, the noted writer, dead solid perfect, outstanding sports writer of our generation. Well, there goes Kenny Hill again.
And Tim, that was a design run. They went 4 to the field to allow number 7 to settle in. We talked about that at the top of the show. Clearly, Sonny Cumbie wants him to settle in, and they did it. They may even call it again. They've got 4 to the field again.
Yep. Good call. They were ready this time, though. Stopped him behind the line of scrimmage at the 44. Vincent Taylor, 96, making the stop along with Walter Scheid. The sun is bright. The front came through last night. But what about the Big 12 championship? Could it be Bedlam? Or could someone destroy that opportunity? FS1 College Football is sponsored by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry. With Bruce Feldman and Spencer Tillman, Tim Brando, happy to have you with us on this gorgeous day in Fort Worth, Texas. The TCU Horned Frogs trailing by 1. Vincent Taylor's blocked extra point. Big guy got through for the 4th time to deny Hatfield, and that's the difference in the game right now. 2nd down and 13 as we open the 2nd quarter. Slanina has come into the game. And the slot receiver running that shallow cross is not the intended receiver. They go to Taj Williams instead. And the junior transfer from Iowa Western Community College by way of Tallahassee could not come up with it. 3rd down and 13.
Todd's the leading receiver on this team, but again, no one has really stood up. They missed Josh Doxson, certainly. That's a once-in-a-generation player. They're looking for some people to stand up.
3rd and 13. They go empty, and Hill is getting some pressure. Off the edge. Throws it underneath to Williams. He's going to be stopped at the 49-yard line, so just inside Oklahoma State territory, but it is 4th down.
That's the job of avoiding for Kenny Hill, and then Williams navigating underneath. A lot of bodies flying around there. You can get it put in your watch pocket really quickly, but good hands save that snag.
Nunez will punt it away. Jalen McCleskey, number 1, back deep, standing at his 10-yard line. So the Sanders has been replaced by McCleskey after the muff in that position. High, tight spiral, and a fair catch is called at the 10 by McCleskey. It's been an incredible season for Oklahoma State. Call them your cardiac Cowboys. Central Michigan, that's debatable and could come up in consternation for the committee later on. Lost on that Hail Mary, you might recall. Then they got the one against Iowa State. Big time victory against Kansas State on the road. Stearns had the interception to close that one out. And of course, against Texas Tech, they needed a missed extra point for the difference there.
Now, the upshot of all of that is that's potential leverage. If you're the coach, Coach Gundy, you can say, look, we've been here before. We play well. It's about character. Those close calls tend to produce it. This one so far seems like it's going to be a close one. Let's see if that character comes into play.
They start from their 10. Washington is split wide to the bottom of your screen, and McCleskey goes in motion. Hill. Justice Hill. And the saving tackle by Nico Small. Boy, did he hit that line quickly. 32 yards.
Well, you know, Mike told us that there's a correlation between explosiveness and speed and just being able to make those types of plays, and we saw it there. But for Nico Small, he hits his head on the goalpost.
A pump fake. Looking towards the boundary for Washington. Incomplete. Tejada, who's there coverage.
And you can see the youngster here on the little ISO play. He runs off tackle. Smart getting his shoulders upfield, running away intuitively from pressure. And again, but for Nico, number 2, he doesn't make that stop. That's an outstanding job of a young, talented player showing you his athleticism, but also his vision to avoid that safety and string that out for additional 5-6 yards.
2nd and 10. Carson has come into the game after the long run for Hill. Hill's up to 60 yards on 5 carries. And
they got some communication issues.
They're going to take timeout. Going to take a timeout, the Cowboys. And we'll take it with them. They're in great shape with good field position. And this freshman's making some history. We'll be right back. 7-6 our score. Now, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State are rivals, but there are commonalities. And my partner Spencer Tillman, the old Sooner, understands where I'm coming from here. The Cowboys have great lineage at the running back position. Justice Hill just passed Thurman Thomas for the freshman rushing record in a single season. How about that?
That's pretty strong. Again, you look at this kid out of Booker T. Washington High School. He shows you his ability to run with vision and speed. We saw the explosiveness. There's some great backs there. Justin Hill is among them. And I'm going back to guys like Terry Miller, old school. And obviously Barry Sanders among them. Outstanding backs come out of this college.
Chris Carson has come into the game to replace him. Remains on the field here on 2nd and 10 after the timeout. Washington is flanked to the bottom of your screen. Play fake, and he's going for the streak down the sidelines again. And Lacey bringing it in, but this time was out of bounds.
Well, the fact that they're not afraid to throw that one, again, they've shown that Lacey almost a Baryshnikov-esque effort on this play as well. We saw him earlier working that sideline and the concentration to keep that one in. But for the fact that he ran out of real estate, he grabs that one because he's got clear control.
Yeah, I mean,
look at the concentration on that, man.
Gladney did a nice job of keeping him near the sidelines and allow that to help him as a defender. But it's 3rd down and 10. It's nice to know that that 50-50 shot is always there for you as a quarterback.
Yes, sir.
Going deep. This time it's Lacey again. And a marker down. Working on the freshman, Gladney, from New Boston, Texas. And I think they may have gotten him with a hold as Lacey was making his way downfield.
They must have came early because Lacey had him in his hip pocket, and it obviously was a push off there late.
Pass interference, defense, number 12. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Yeah, he sticks that,
he's holding him right
left
there.
arm and he grabs him there.
Yeah.
Contact made before the ball reaches him.
And it really wasn't necessary,
No.
but because the pass was overthrown. But I get it. He did not want to give up the touchdown and be burned that way.
Well, to the young corner's credit, he was at least trying to identify where the ball was.
Oh, yeah. But a good call. From the 43 now, 1st and 10. Your pressure points have been exposed, though. Lacey is a pressure point for the TCU defense at this stage.
He's backed off and playing soft coverage now.
Hill.
What nice move.
Spun down. Good defensive surge by James McFarland, number 40, the senior from West Monroe, Louisiana. That town has produced a lot of talent that TCU's been able to tap into.
And one of the 8 seniors that we talked about earlier, they're not in depth at that position in particular, but across the board, they're lacking that senior leadership. He's one of them. McFarland certainly has provided it in spades.
2nd and 8. Rudolph looking for Carson. And that pass is incomplete. Could have been picked. Traven Howard had a really good shot at it.
Howard had inside leverage, and again, that ball probably just hit him in the chest. He wasn't where it was coming there, but he had great defensive position. He's claiming that ball as his own. Goes up and grabs it. And underthrown a little bit. He was right there. Should have had it.
Yeah, hitting between the 3 and the 2.
Yes, it sure did.
3rd down and 8. That gives you. He's the Big 12 tackling leader. He's not supposed to make interceptions, but he certainly was in position to get one there. 3rd down and 8. Rudolph with backside pressure gives it up, and it's dropped by Carson.
Well, they showed him a funky look. They bailed out into a 3-cross look. You don't see it very much. It's almost like 3 deep, and that confused young Rudolph. When he comes back, he's looking for that underneath route not to be there, but that last-minute bail confused him.
I think he also stumbled out of the gate and had to get some traction there, Spencer, and may have been a little discombobulated from the start.
Now, he found the check down guy, which was Carson, but again, it was just a little bit too late in the hesitation there because of the coverage was the key.
Siner goes with that end over end with the nose down punt. This lane on. It's fumbled by Turpin, but he gets on top of it at the 4-yard line. He's upset with himself. 37-yard boot and another great opportunity for the Oklahoma State defense. Traven Howard eyes it, buys it,
and drops it.
Yeah. We call it chemistry, folks. We'll be right back. Cowboys lead the Horned Frogs 7-6. Early stages of the 2nd quarter, and a look now at the Big 12 standings sponsored by Sonic, an official sponsor of the Big 12 Conference. Underscores the importance of today and tonight. West Virginia and Oklahoma tonight at Mountaineer Field. Oklahoma State hopes to serve, get the open date, and then Bedlam could be a de facto Big 12 title game with a potential playoff berth if there's more carnage in front of them, and there likely could be. Michigan State and Ohio State are tied as we speak over in the Big 10. Expect the unexpected in the college game.
And that Oklahoma loss to University of Houston all of a sudden doesn't look so bad.
That's right. Kyle Hicks trying to turn it back upfield and does to about the 40-yard line. I was interested, Spencer, in our Bruce Feldman, our insider, on our pregame show earlier today, mentioning Dana Holgerson's name as being involved not only in the potential opening at Oregon, but maybe Texas as well, depending upon what happens with Tom Herman and the direction that the Texas program may be going in with their leadership.
Well, he certainly runs a style of offense that both institutions would benefit from, and he's a surfer guy. He's a loose cannon, and I like him a lot for it. And those young kids certainly gravitate toward his personality and his offense.
The fit in the state of Texas and in the Big 12 would be huge. So you see Hicks ahead for a couple of yards. Bruce, give us more if you can on that, especially given the timing of this big game at Mountaineer Field, that coming out publicly today.
Yeah, Tim. So really what it comes down to is Dana Holgorsen is drawing some interest from some folks at Oregon, and that's obviously potentially tied in with Tom Herman, who's in the mix at both Oregon and Texas, should Charlie Strong get forced out there. Don't be also shocked if Dana Holgorsen ends up potentially as a fallback candidate at LSU as well, I'm told.
No question. No question. Now, of course, I still believe Ed Orgeron could win his way to that job if they close out in the manner that they closed out Arkansas last week. This pass over the middle on the cross, and it could have been picked. The huge hit enabled the ball to come free, and almost picked. Stearns just absolutely waylaid Diarse. And then the opportunity at the interception was there.
Jordan was gravitating back to a center field position, and he drove on that ball, had a beat on it from the beginning, and just really put his hat right there. Clean hit.
Justin Phillips had a great look at it.
Yeah, he did.
He almost had an opportunity to pick there.
Jordan Stearns was all over that when he read it from the beginning and closed and finished the deal.
Adam Nunez will now punt from his end zone. McCleskey is back deep. And that ball was not fielded, but does get a positive bounce for Nunez, and it goes out at the 46-yard line, a 47-yard boot. TCU and Oklahoma State with a lot at stake in the Big 12 and beyond. Cowboys lead it by 1. Field position just got a little bit better as we were going to break. We noticed that one of the reasons McCleskey didn't field the ball was because it actually hit Markel Simmons right there on the shoulder pad, number 3. So they get 12 yards out of this. Instead of starting at their own 47, they're now at the 43-yard line of TCU. Justice Hill will be the setback. The tight end, Blake Jarwin, is lined up in the slot, and they go again, sidelines, back shoulder, but out of bounds and incomplete, intended for Jawan Seals. Jeff Gladney was over there. They're picking on him. They've now gone after number 12, the redshirt freshman, 3 consecutive times.
I bet he wished he had that one back. He put that ball, did Rudolph, a little bit further out to the boundary and out of bounds, and he didn't give his receiver a chance to make that play.
Second and 10. McCleskey is in the slot to the bottom of your screen. Hill spun down after a gain of 2, just shy of the 40. Boson again made the stop. I asked Gary Patterson about his defense, if he could tell me who's really improved more than any on his defense, and he went right to Boson. He said, this kid has really gotten the job done for me, and when you consider the position he plays behind Caraway, it speaks volumes really that they can do more things with him.
Well, that right defensive end position, particularly against a team that can run the football, is absolutely crucial, because what Gary told us yesterday, they're going to try to stop the run first of all. They need him anchored outside, but athletic enough to move inside as well.
On third down, Rudolph's pass incomplete. Washington jumped too soon that time. Mistimed it. He was actually on his way down when the ball got there. And now the Cowboys are 3 of 7 on third down conversions today.
Good pressure up front by James McFarland and company, and Caraway on the far side at the right defensive end. That's part of the equation. And again, if you're looking at a guy right here that knows defense, he's been here a long time, and he's been producing elite defenses for a very long time. Gary Patterson is one of the best.
These stereotypes that are out there from drive-by media on the Big 12 defensively, when they claim they don't play defense in this league, well, then you're not watching Gary Patterson's teams. And it's not just based on numbers. Turpin and Zach Seiner back there after that punt, a 29-yard boot. Again, quality field position, though, coming up from a defensive standpoint for the Cowboys. Let's get a game break. Back to Los Angeles we go, and Mike Hill.
Texas A&M, once ranked 4th, now down to 25th after that 2-game slide, trying to end it against UTSA. But look at that one-handed grab by the Roadrunners' Josh Stewart. Nicely done. Beckham-like from Jarrett Johnson. 10-yard pass. Aggies still lead it 13-7 in the second.
All right, Mike, thank you. They're trying to get well in a hurry at Texas A&M. Their feelings have been hurt the last couple of weeks. Only 68 yards on 19 plays for the Horned Frogs offensively. They've not gotten the passing game going. And on the quick curl, it's Emmanuel Porter taking it in from nearby Lincoln High School in Dallas, Texas. They got to get this passing game going. So far, it's been Hill running, and that's about it.
Well, Jarrell Owens made it tough for him on that last play with pressure in his face, so they're going to try to mix it up in here and stretch it to the field and see if we come back to the middle of the field now.
Kyle Hicks stopped by Justin Phillips after a gain of 3. Second down and 7 coming up. Hill under pressure. And up to about the 25-yard line. Phillips and Moti Mele making the stop, number 90. This run stuffer that played rugby at one point in his life out of Euless, Texas, has been outstanding in the center there of Glenn Spencer's defense. He just goes on and on when we chatted with him earlier this week about how Moti Mele has come around.
Mele has come around, and he's a big load at 315. Not the tallest in the world, but at 6'3", you want him in there to control that center gap position to the left and to the right. He's a two-gapper.
On 3rd and 8, that pass cradled by Desmond White, and they will give him credit for the reception at the 36-yard line. And it's a first down, a much-needed first down for this TCU offense that has been throttled so far today in the passing game.
Well, they gave him good protection, and again, I think the philosophy so far for these co-coordinators is they take a look at it.
I don't know.
The ruling on the field of a completed pass is under further review.
Jack McDonald is our replay official, and he's taking a look at this. That ball was moving around quite a bit down there. Let's take a closer look here.
Well, it skipped and hit the ground first. I mean, it looked like to me the ball clearly bounced.
I thought his hands were underneath it, Spence.
Let's see.
The ball moves, but I thought his hands were underneath it. A lot of movement. Does the ball come down, though, at the bottom, the toe of the ball, does it hit? I think that probably will stand. I don't know that I see enough evidence that his hands were not underneath it, or that the ball touched the ground.
Yeah, I see it too, Brett. Some talent right
there. At first glance, I agree with you. It looked like there was a lot of movement, and that maybe the ball was scooped, but that's because the ball moved. But I think his hands were underneath it.
Well, it's the pacing of the ball, and once again, there's not enough evidence, and I would agree with you there, to overturn it, but the reaction of the ball as it hit quick, it bounced up so quick. That tells you that it hit the ground, and the ground is what's going to cause that ball to react. But again, that's me seeing it. But if the angle is not there, they're not going to overturn that.
Our referee, Reggie Smith, will tell us.
After further review, the pass is incomplete. It was on the ground.
I think that's a good call.
You know what? You talked me right into believing that. You did.
That's what happened,
if Mike Pereira had said that, I would have automatically gone. But watch where the hands are, though.
It's tough to tell it. That ball, the nose of that ball popped that off that ground.
You know what? You went Mike Pereira on me there. That was beautiful. Well done.
You know, they say at Oklahoma we could convince a shark that the desert is the best place for him to be. You got to be able to sell it, man.
So on 4th and 8, they'll have to punt it away. Adam Nunez should get it off around his 15-yard line, and Jalen McCleskey is back deep. Another low line driver. And it will roll dead at the 41. Boy, the Cowboys have had some incredible field position, but not a lot to show for it. Only leading by 1, 7-6. So they don't play defense in this league, huh? Talk to Glenn Spencer, the DC of Oklahoma State. And to Gary Patterson, the head coach of TCU. Hello, how do you do? We play D here. FS1 College Football is sponsored by Jared, the Gallery of Jewelry. Beautiful panoramic view from our DirecTV blimp of this outstanding campus feeding its way into Amon G. Carter Stadium. And from the 41, here's Rudolph. In traffic, does manage to get almost back to the line of scrimmage. A loss of 1. Howard will be credited with a sack, number 32.
And Josh Caraway, number 94, the right defensive end, was involved in collapsing that pocket. Rudolph has enjoyed great protection behind that line. Veteran, all of them returning as starters up front, collapsed on that play.
Now this is Oklahoma State's 7th possession, Spencer. On 3 starts, the average's starting point was their own 13. The other 4 have averaged their 38-yard line. They've had quality field position most of the day. Rennie Childs is in the backfield. And that pass and out pattern for McCleskey is caught just shy of midfield at the 49-yard line. It'll be 2 yards from the line to make. So 3rd and 2 coming, and they're going tempo right away up to the line.
Yeah, and what I'm seeing as a recurring theme is Joseph Brognetz, number 54, the defensive tackle, has been able to put pressure up the middle. Let's see if they bring it again.
Childs just into the game, and I think they gave him the forward progress for the first down.
Yeah, he got that clearly.
Senior from Houston, Texas, Cypress High School, did play quite a bit in that game with Texas Tech. That was such a track meet. Everyone that could tote it was going to have a few carries in that ball game. 1st and 10 from the 48 of TCU.
They'll bring a pressure
off the corner. Corner cat blitz was coming from McFarland. Rennie Childs, the intended receiver.
James McFarland, the left defensive end. You can see him coming, pressure here from the outside. He had no blocking responsibility. The play was designed well because it was coming away from the overload. But again, the speed of James McFarland, the senior, 250 pounds, 6'3", showing he's got some great straight line speed.
2nd down and 10. And a quick timeout taken by the Cowboys.
That's twice tonight they haven't been able to get the play in and versus the defense they wanted. That's defense, Timmy.
Mike Yuricich, the offensive coordinator, and Mike Gundy will chat with their quarterback. Just over 7 minutes to play in the first half. Cowboys lead it by 1. Again, quality field position, but 2nd and long coming up. After the timeout, Chris Carson is in the backfield, and he goes in motion. Again, this time the blitz up the middle, and the perfect play called, a quick slant to Jalen McCleskey, and he's 2 yards shy, or maybe 4 yards shy of a first down. Picked up 6.
Yeah, Ty Summers, though, came from that late position. You can see him here. The pressure gets through their quarterback. This is great zone blitz combinations that you're seeing here on the snap of the ball. And the Oklahoma State Cowboys are having a tough time picking it up.
Yeah,
this is Gary Patterson at his best right here.
Yeah, I got to tell you, though, Rudolph stood tall, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, but that heat was coming. They got to pick that up, Tim.
4th and 8. They've been 4 of 8 on 3rd down conversions. They get it to McCleskey on a little pick play there. Washington with the pick, and the block is good enough to get the first down to about the 36-yard line.
You know, great players. What do they do when they don't have the ball in their hand? 28's sacrificing himself for his battery mate. That is a complete player right there.
Carson totes it. Nice little adjustment, but markers fly in an area where holding could be the call as he forges ahead inside the 30-yard line. Ty Summers made the tackle.
Farland was in on the company as well, but as you said, the laundry's there, and it could be against the.
Well, the early indication is it could be maybe a face to hand to the face mask, something of that variety. If it's not holding, that's usually what the call is whenever you see it thrown in the interior.
Defense, number 91.
Yep.
15-yard penalty added to the end of the run. First down.
L.J. Collier, the guilty party. Number 91, just into the game for Broadnax.
And the defensive tackle there, number 91, 6'4", 275 pounds.
Yep, there
and again,
it is.
you can see the hand right there.
Move it down to the 14-yard line. McCleskey goes in motion. They go stretch play to the wide side, and Hill cuts it back up. Boy, that's just fantastic running by the youngster. Gets it down to the 11-yard line, and he could have been tripped up behind the line of scrimmage here.
Sammy Douglas, number 35, is the guy you're alluding to. He comes off his block, does a nice job. And that little stumble there doesn't look like it's enough, but I'm telling you, in a game of inches, your Chargers are coming behind you to clean that thing up, and it could be the difference between him scoring and that tackle there.
He got 4 yards, and he could have lost 3 after the penetration from Douglas. You're right. 2nd and 6. Carson. Well, those are some tough yards inside the 10 down to about the 8-yard line. Ty Summers again making the stop. Number 42 for TCU.
A lot going on there with Mason Rudolph. That read, he's holding it at the mesh point a little bit longer. And what that's telling you is that his read has been somehow confusing. He's waiting to see how that defensive end is going to commit. If he does stay outside, he's going to give that ball to the back. When you're in no man's land, you don't quite know. You leave it in there a little bit longer, but it jeopardizes the security of the football.
3rd down and 4. Carson the setback, and he goes in motion. Rudolph double pumps. That one was well defended. Washington got it, but stopped in his tracks at the 5-yard line. I think that forward progress might be a little shy of the 1st down.
Yeah, Nick Orr was all over him out there, but it's going to be close.
Very close. About a half yard. Maybe less.
Solid defense. You get in this nickel, this what I call the green zone inside the 5-yard line, you're going to get hit sooner.
And this is also, you know, Spencer, this is the specialty of Gary Patterson's defense. It's a first priority 3 and outs, then red zone defense, and 3rd down. Get off the field if you can. They've not done a good enough job this season in that area, but this red zone defense has been a different story. They've been very effective, especially of late, in defending the red zone.
Don't think that Oklahoma State doesn't know it. They're going to think about it.
Huge play coming up. Cowboys have had magnificent field position, have done little with it, at least to this point. Well, a critical mistake made by the Cowboys. They did have a timeout remaining, chose not to use it, and then got a delay of game penalty, which forces their hand, and Ben Grogan will come in for a field goal. And he boots it through. 27 yards, but you had just inches to make, and indecision. Rudolph did not get the timeout. They did have one remaining, which I find very curious. That's really a forfeiture of an opportunity to get 7 and simply take the 3.
Well, when you got somebody like Ben Grogan, who made his only field goal attempt last week, and 27 out, and he's sure-footed, but that was before the poor decision was made on the part of the Cowboys.
Well, they say that they took the penalty to get a better angle for the field goal, but I don't know that I necessarily agree with that. I think there was indecision. By the way, we were talking earlier about Mike Gundy and the coaching tree and the incestuous nature of the industry. So many assistant coaches. I mean, Dana Holgerson's one of them. Okay. Doug Meacham also came from Oklahoma State, and in fact, there you see the coaching tree.
Todd Monken
and
Larry Fedora.
And Urasich, of course, now the current offensive coordinator. But Doug Meacham actually played at Oklahoma State with Barry Sanders, Hartley, Dykes. Gundy was the quarterback. He's shed a lot of pounds from his playing days, I can tell you that, now the co-offensive coordinator. But I think Mike is also very proud of how successful all these coaches have been. His coaching tree, Spencer, is among the most successful, really, in the college game.
And you can tell when he was talking to us just yesterday, or earlier in the week, how satisfied that he was. He's got scouts now all over the country, working their way, not just through the coaching rankings, but through administration. He's teaching principles and concepts of how to live and how to compete when the cheering stops, and I think he's as proud of that as anything else. He's a tremendous spirit, tremendous soul. He's a winner, man.
He was a very hands-on head coach when he initially took over for Les Miles, and admits that he changed and became more of a CEO. Grants as much autonomy perhaps as any head coach in America, He's been the one constant. All of the assistants are going someplace else to make their names as head coaches and coordinators. He remains the constant. That's Kyle Hicks taking it ahead for a couple of yards.
I think you make a great point, Timmy. His style, his leadership style. Mike Gundy is kind of like the Army. You know, they changed their whole philosophy. It's an army of one. But when you get in there, you're going to do it the Army's way. You're going to figure that out. And he has a system that's proven. It has worked. It's produced all of that lineage you talked about. He's one of the best, man.
2nd and 10. No gain on that initial play. Hicks remains in the backfield. They've only got 81 yards of total offense, TCU. There's a quick slant. Good to Taj Williams. They have not been able to get him unleashed yet. He's beyond the 40. 16-yard pickup there. They'll mark it at the 41-yard line. Trey Flowers the stop.
Yeah, it was a beautiful catch in traffic.
Hill. Now that's the kind of pass that you look at Kenny Hill and you say, wow, you gotta complete that.
Yeah.
Jalen Austin, the intended receiver. I think accuracy has been the issue with Kenny going all the way back to his days at Texas A&M.
Well, if you're going to throw it, you got to make it. But I'm telling you, the out, and again, it wasn't past the numbers, so it wasn't necessarily elite NFL caliber throw. But the out with accuracy is one of the toughest throws to make. But one thing they've been doing, Sonny Cumbie and Doug Meacham, the co-coordinators, have been taking their time trying to get him in the correct play. He's just got to execute, as you said.
6 of 11 for 53 yards for Hill so far today.
At the back.
It's this one flying. It's dropped. That one's on the receiver. Austin had it and could not hold on.
And Timmy, that's been the story all year long for this group. Again, they are capable of making great plays versus bail or off coverage there. He's running, comes back, plenty of opportunity and space to make that play. Just can't. Austin just misses that. It's just wide open. That's unbelievable.
I mean, the sun is going in that direction, but I'm sorry, you got to make that play.
Yeah.
3rd down and 10. Jossie Akeem was over there covering him. And that pass towards the boundary is caught by Williams. They'll mark it at the 47-yard line and a 1st down as they try to get something done before the intermission. TCU. Oklahoma State. Glenn Spencer's defense has yielded quite a lot of yardage. Many teams do in this league.
I think they like the matchup of Ashton Lemson outside. I'm thinking they're going to come back this way.
And it's a quarterback keeper, and there goes Kenny Hill. That's what Gary Patterson wanted. Call your own number, big fella. Get lathered up. He goes for 40 and a 1st and goal.
He doesn't encroach upon his offensive coordinators, but he kind of subtly suggested to them more design runs for this guy. He is at his best when he can do both. And certainly on that play, he did nothing to belie that.
Mentioned Glenn Spencer's defense yielding a lot of yards, but not necessarily many points. See how his red zone defense responds here.
This is an interesting, vulnerable front that they have here.
With formation spread, Kenny Hill keeps it, and he's dumped at the 3. Really sharp tackle there by Bundage, number 1, Calvin Bundage. In space making this play.
One of the toughest things in the world to do against a guy this athletic is to be able to make plays in open space. Remember, Kenny Hill is a fleet-footed quarterback, and if you're a defender or a linebacker, you're usually weighing between 20 and 30 pounds more. You're at a disadvantage.
Well, they've gone with
heavy.
Yeah, it's a Wildcat with Hicks, and he is down to the 1. And they brought Travois Johnson in at running back. Hill came out of the game, and Kyle Hicks went into the wild frog, I suppose we could call it.
Yeah,
got it down to about the 1 where it's 3rd down and goal.
And they had Cole Hunt in, number 81, a tight end in the backfield there for a moment, so they clearly were trying to get something heavy going on inside.
Hill with 65 yards passing, 71 rushing. I think they're going to stay with it. They are. They'll stay Wildcat here. Hicks at quarterback, and he keeps it right up the middle. Is he in?
He's short.
I don't think so. No indication that he's there. He is short, and it's Devontae Averett, 40, the redshirt senior from Detroit, that made the play.
Well, they're showing power to the right side, and Averett and company were ready to shut it down, but interesting decision to come back inside away from the power formation.
And I think they may want a timeout to see if they're going to take a look at it. hope that the replay official will take a look. On that lunge, I believe the offensive line.
Timeout of the half. Correct.
While they take a look at this, let's send it to Rob Stone, who's going to tell us.
There is no timeout. The previous play that the ball carrier was short of the goal line is under further review.
Okay, so no timeout. They did put it under review, which we anticipated. The offensive line was indicating that he clearly had gotten in. We'll see.
Yeah, I was just confused about the read. Again, Hicks wanted to go inside, but you show power to the right side of the formation. That's where your numbers are. He ran right into the teeth.
I thought his legs were down, Spencer. Watch right here. Yeah,
his elbows down, and it's
that's forearm is down, hand down, knee down. They're not going to overturn that. I mean, the intent of the offensive line, clearly we're trying to sell the replay. They thought, and I think maybe the timeout was going to be taken by Gary to give them ample time to take a look at it, if nothing else. And not a bad idea, really, but I don't see how you overturn that. The State Farm Halftime Show with Rob Stone, Dave Wanstad, and Robert Smith, along with Matt Leinart, all coming up your way in a matter of seconds. But this is a very important part of the game. Here's Reggie Smith with a call.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The clock will start on the ready for play. It's 4th down.
Which means TCU may want to use that time.
Yes, they in a hurry.
TCU calls their first timeout of the half.
On cue.
1 minute timeout.
Gee. You do enough of these games and maybe you should figure it out, right? Yeah. I believe now we can get to Rob Stone, whom I promised just a moment ago. He's ready to tell you about what's coming up at halftime in Los Angeles. Rob.
Coming up on the State Farm halftime, Baylor. They try to end their 3-game losing streak as they host Kansas State. Plus, number 2, Ohio State, looking to stay alive in the playoff hunt. They're in chilly East Lansing. And number 7, Wisconsin, taking on Purdue. We'll have all the highlights. Tim Spencer, see you at the break.
I got a chance, Spence, to see Rob in Omaha, Nebraska for our Gavitt tip-off games. He and Steve Lavin were working, and I'm just amazed at how much that guy has to keep up with. He had another eye on Costa Rica soccer that night. I mean, he is all over it.
Well, you know,
a man for you say a man for all seasons. He is at Fox and Fox Sports, our family of networks. He is the man for all seasons for us.
Well, you know what the old axiom is: they don't pay you for what you do; they pay you for what you may have to do.
So what are they going to do here? What are they going to do?
I think you go for it. You know, you're at home.
Yeah, but what do you play? I mean, what do you go with here? You going to line up again with Hicks? I'm amazed that they've stayed
they better
with this.
Go to the right. That's all I'm saying, because their numbers are going to crush them if they don't.
I find it curious that Kenny Hill, who got all of those yards to get you down there, is suddenly not your quarterback, and they run Wildcat 3 consecutive times from the 2, and they've not been able to get into the end zone.
Well, it's a great point that you're making, because usually what happens when you have a quarterback with his skill set, you actually expand your options when you get down here in the red area. So there's something to be said for what you're talking about.
I know he's been nicked up. I know he's had injury issues.
You got to defend him, though. This is not a guy that's not mobile. He can move him. You can affect defenses. So again, put him in the game.
Yeah. We had this come up, did we not, with the 18-wheeler conversation on 2 tries,
for different reasons. You got
down.
a big guy that you don't necessarily is going to run with leverage down here.
Don't you make Glenn Spencer's job easier to defend if you
don't
Hicks,
have your
best
assets in there?
Yeah. Well, college football does continue next right here on FS1. The Red Raiders will battle the Cyclones. Then at 7 Eastern on Fox, Demario Richard and the Arizona State Sun Devils will take on Jake Browning and the 6th-ranked Washington Huskies. You can watch it live on Fox Sports Go.
Well, Timmy, we know both teams fancy themselves as schemers, particularly Oklahoma State on offense, but you know Gary Patterson is going to come up with a solution here as well.
All right, Hicks
has this looks better to
touchdown.
me. This looks better for me now.
A little delayed throw, and it's incomplete. Cole Hunt, the intended receiver, and I simply do not buy
Timmy,
what was up in that sequence down at the goal line.
Way too cute in the formation, trying to outthink people and go away from the numbers. Again, I would never trust somebody who doesn't throw the ball every single down to do this. This is the direct path where you need to be going. You're trying to out-trick someone. Cole is out there. You had him 3 straight times, even though you called a timeout in that power formation, trying to slip him out. They're not going to ignore him out there. You got him behind him, but you're asking a running back to throw that and be accurate down here. I don't understand that.
I don't, not so much, and I understand what you're saying by formation, what you liked as the pre-snap, but the bottom line to me is Kenny Hill is a dual threat quarterback. He's as much of a runner as he is a passer.
Wouldn't you rather have the ball in his hand making that throw?
Yeah, I don't buy it. I really don't. Rudolph going down the sidelines for Washington, incomplete, and that will close out the half. 2 teams that have relied on explosive plays, but their defenses have always been underrated, undervalued by many. And the Cowboys of Oklahoma State looking to stay in the hunt for the Big 12 title and make Bedlam a possible title game, have the lead by 4. And now let's get you to Rob Stone, our man for all seasons in LA.
By the way, Tim is my BFF.
The man for all seasons.
You guys talk before?
You're the most interesting man in the world.
Hey,
what, you sending coupons to him? What do you think? Dinner coupons? What do you?
picked up the tab in Omaha, my
Money,
friend.
baby.
I love you, Tim Brando. We welcome you to the State Farm FS1 College Football Halftime Show. Rob, Robert, Matt, Coach here with you. Scoring at a premium in the first half in Fort Worth. A lot of angles to hit on this one. Let's begin, though, with the Cowboys' rushing attack, and it is the focus of our State Farm right combination highlight. Robert?
Yeah, and this has really been a point of emphasis for offensive coordinator Mike Yurcich this season to get the run game cranked up. Here you can see Chris Carson. He had been out for a stretch during the season for 4 games. Having him back in, really good because they have a nice change of pace with Justice Hill. So those guys really got the run game cranking from 20 to 20. But TCU did a pretty good job in the red zone in that first half.
Let's go back to how that half concluded, Coach. 4th and goal from about the 1. TCU goes for it. What did you think of the play call?
Well, I like the play call. I mean, you're at home. You make those decisions whether you're going to go for it if it's a close game before you even get on the field. So the team knows it. The coaches know that. And you know what? They just got to execute. The guy was open. There was 3 guys. You know, Tim Brando and Spencer commented about, hey, Kenny Hill's a runner. Well, guess what? They sucked up 3 of the defenders. They had one-on-one coverage. A guy open. They missed the call. I love Gary. So far, Gary Patterson's plan. I mean, he's going in at halftime now. They're running the ball, something like Robert said Oklahoma State is. But you know what? He's looking at it from the standpoint and saying, hey, guys, how are we going to lose this game? What do we got to do game plan-wise? Don't give up the big pass play. So they're going to let them run the football some. I mean, they're not going to score. Oklahoma State's not going to score enough points running the ball. They will beat you if you give up the 50-yard pass. So I love the game plan that TCU has. They just got to be disciplined and stay with it.
TCU defensively, give them credit. They did a great job. They did give up some run yards and rush yards, and I think that was the only positive from Oklahoma State. Other than that, guys, I thought there wasn't a sense of urgency. This is a team that's 11th in the country. They have a chance to win the Big 12 championship. Mason Rudolph, 10 of 24, 84 yards. He was off his mark. Here was the only turnover from Oklahoma State by Barry Sanders, which led to a touchdown from TCU. So it was sloppy. Again, Mason Rudolph put the ball in his chest and let him go in there and score a touchdown. I thought it was sloppy at times. Oklahoma State in the second half has to pick up the tempo because, guys, they control their own destiny in this conference.
Yeah, they won't get better field position. Oklahoma State won't in the second half than what they in the first.
Right.
They had a lot of opportunities.
Yep. We know Gary Patterson is great as a defensive mind. You're going to see some adjustments. They won't get the opportunities they had in the first half.
Be interesting, though, to see if they rue not going for that field goal.
Oh, you'll rue this.
No. You'll rue the day, my friend.
FS1 College Football is sponsored by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry. Oklahoma State's 10 points, their fewest points in one half this season. TCU 6 points, ties for their lowest output. They only had 6 against SMU earlier this year. Along with Bruce Feldman on the sideline, Spencer Tillman upstairs. Yours truly, Tim Brando, happy to have you with us. Your thoughts in general terms with so much at stake. I mean, TCU's trying to get bowl eligible. Yeah. Oklahoma State wants Bedlam to be for the Big 12 title and maybe more. What do you think so far?
Well, this is a purest dream right here. If you look at some of the defensive action that we saw today, I thought there's a matchup going on both sides of the ball, mainly OSU's defense really showing you exactly what they're able to do, making Kyle Hicks look ordinary here, bottling him up. Did a nice job of playing contained with their run fits. They've been outstanding. And again, the pressure of the quarterback, listen, they were everywhere. And then ultimately on the opposite side, it's missed opportunities. Opportunities lost. The block point after attempt here, an opportunity for them to go up at least in a tight contest, remain competitive and keep it close. We know that Oklahoma State likes to go fast, but they're going to not open things up if they can't score, Tim.
And the kick goes through, nicely done by Matt Amendola for the touchback. And Bruce Feldman talked to both coaches at the break, right, Bruce?
That's right, Tim. In terms of the field goal decision and not to go for it, Gary Patterson told me, hey, a field goal does us no good. Now, what's not said in that is they don't have as much confidence in their kicking game as they did a year ago. He said also, we got to find a way to get some other people involved in the offense besides Kenny Hill. As far as Kenny Hill, that's the one issue that Mike Gundy's concerned about. He goes, we may have to have another guy on him to spy him because that's the part that's hurting us. Otherwise, he feels pretty good about how they're playing, and he said, you know what, we got to find a way to get some plays downfield to get our passing game more wide open.
Yeah, they've not been able to get James Washington unleashed, so the job has been done on him, and he had a field day against this team a year ago. That's Cavante Turpin again. He got the touchdown earlier on what was a little shovel pass, and he barely got it into the end zone. Cole Walterscheid made the stop, number 82, after the gain of 6 on the sweep, and it's 2nd down and 4.
Walterscheid just missed on that play earlier, but he stayed engaged and came back and actually made that play. You're talking about going 100 miles an hour and staying after it. He did on that play.
Out of the shotgun with Hicks in the backfield. And he's stopped behind the line of scrimmage this time, and Vincent Taylor just kniving through there to make the play. Loss of a yard. And let's take a look at the first half stats. And these two teams, from a defensive standpoint, did play well. I would submit, though, that particularly in the case of Oklahoma State, not taking advantage of quality field position could come back and haunt them.
Yeah, before that final drive of the first half, TCU had 74 yards. They had 81 on that final drive. So it has been ebb and flow. Which team is able to put some offense up is going to be in a decided advantage.
3rd down and 5, and Hill's pass is caught. The tight end Hunt, who was the intended receiver on the poor throw by Kyle Hicks down the end zone to close out the half, gets 23 yards here.
I like working on the nod route again, playing in man coverage again. Averett, the linebacker, no match for Cole, just took him on a little man option route and got a huge gain out of it.
So the ball is now at the 47 of the Cowboys. Hicks, good cutback. Looked like he was headed on a sweep and decided to cut it back up. Trey Flowers makes the stop. Very healthy first down gain. It gives them 2nd down and 3 coming up.
You got to play Hicks with integrity. They did. Oklahoma State played with leverage on that play, but Hicks was able to make one guy miss and get upfield.
Trips to the top of your screen on 2nd and 3.
TCU content to get in the correct play, the one that they think is going to work best. They're not necessarily going tempo like Oklahoma State. They want to go fast.
Play fake. Hill with plenty of time. Going long. Pass was intended for Desmond White, junior from DeSoto, Texas. Well defended that time in double coverage. Trey Flowers and Derek Moncrief, 31 and 36.
Yeah, they were wrapped all around him. There was no place to go. Throwing that one against a double covered safety look, and not much doing there.
I mean, nothing from Diarce today, really. I think one pass thrown his way. Slanina is a good slot man. They've not gotten him involved. Taj Williams has 2 catches. I mean, this is a wide receiving core that's pretty well regarded, and they've not been able to get their passing game untracked. Hill evades one tackler, still in some trouble, and finally sacked.
Ramon Richards, the corner field safety, really had a Hill in his gun sights, and he came screaming off that field corner side to put pressure on him and bring him down. You can see him working right out here. Number 7 on a beeline, comes inside. Probably should have kept his head outside to maintain leverage, but it still was effective, and now they're punting.
Traylon Weber, 89, cleans up on what had begun off that pressure from Ramon Richards that Spencer was talking about. 4th and 12. McCleskey is back deep, calls for a fair catch at the 9. 42-yard boot. Cowboys will start from their front porch. And I know it's an early start. Beautiful day, but a lot at stake. I mean, a lot at stake. I heard Matt Leinart at halftime talking about, sense of urgency, that he wants to see more of that from the Cowboys here with so much at stake for them. In a lot of ways, Spencer, once a game settles in from a defensive standpoint the way it does, you almost think that coaches become conservative as a result.
Well, I think you do, Tim, but the whole notion of pace and tempo as a tactical advantage is when you have somebody on their heels. This team, TCU, is well conditioned and they're well coached. If you don't have an advantage there, pace and tempo is not going to be much help to you.
On first down, here's Justice Hill. There's a little sense of urgency for you. He hits the line of scrimmage pretty quick. And he gets out beyond the 35 to the 38-yard line, stopped by Nico Small, number 2. I get where Matt was coming from. I really do. Because this is you win here, then you get a week off, and then Bedlam. It's all right in front of you for Oklahoma State. McCleskey takes the swing pass and is going to be stopped just shy of the 40-yard line.
Well, most of Oklahoma State's explosive plays have come via the ground, and that's something that's been a plus for them in terms of the last 3 weeks in particular, when the ground game has suddenly emerged again, with Justice being a part of it.
2nd down and 8 coming up. Zach Veach has come in. The H-back now in motion. It's Carson following Veach. Markers down. And he is pushed back. They're going to give him the 44-yard line before his forward progress was stopped, and a marker down late. Preliminary indication against TCU.
Holding. Defense, number 56. 10-yard penalty added to the end of the run. Results in a first down.
Chris Bradley, young man from Evangel Christian Academy in my hometown of Shreveport, Louisiana, the guilty party.
Well, you can see again his hand is on the ground right there, Timmy. Working in the trash there. Was pretty nasty, but I think it was a clear call.
At the line of scrimmage, the 46 now, first down after the penalty. Out pattern is caught. That's Lacey. And another first down. He's almost unguardable. I mean, he really is. That's 13 yards and a lot of room this time given him by the freshman Jeff Gladney.
Yeah, Gladney was playing soft coverage again, and that's like stealing, man. You just turn and pivot, and if the ball is on time and the rhythm is there, that's a catch.
I mean, this is a matchup they might continue to explore as this series presses forward.
I like what they have to the short side of the field now with the linebacker out there on the numbers.
Carson. He is running with a sense of purpose inside the 30 to the 28-yard line.
Yeah, Ty Summers stopped him there, but you're right. He's running with leverage and intentionality with a nice lean forward. Denzel Washington and company trying to keep this Oklahoma State suddenly resurgent rushing game limited.
Johnson, the strong safety. Yeah, he is a strong hitter. Gets his nose up in there.
My wife is smiling right now.
Oh, because of the Denzel Washington?
Oh, yeah,
okay.
She's
well, it happens. Justice Hill reverses his field position and gets inside the 25 to the 24-yard line. Gladney ushers him out. I think there are a few interested parties in Morgantown, West Virginia, watching this one. 10 carries, 102 yards now for Hill. And here goes Rudolph sliding down just shy of the 20-yard line after he makes the line to make. Nico Small making the stop.
And Rudolph got down just in time, didn't he? Because Nico Small was coming with intention.
It's that quick burst that Hill gives you. You know, after Carson got hurt and he missed 3 games, Denzel Johnson again making the stop. He got a lot of playing time. Now Carson able to come back, got to play a very important game for him, I thought, last week. Youngster from Parkview High, a highly competitive high school in the state of Georgia. Had all kinds of injury problems, and now he's just coming of age in this season at the right time for Oklahoma State. They now have a 2-barreled rushing attack with he and Hill complementing one another behind Mason Rudolph. There's that intentionality. How about that? Carson on cue. Touchdown. His 7th rushing touchdown. And that, my friend, was running with lean.
Just have Jeff Gladney, number 12, who tries to come up and force this play. He just bounced right off him. Carson just runs through the leg drive, high stepping in for the score. I'll tell you, that's physical right there. Running with pad level, yards after contact. You want to write up a play for the script, that's it.
That drive, which nets 90-plus yards, I think answered the question. I thought Matt made a wonderful point at halftime when talking about a championship at stake. He wanted to see a sense of urgency. You got it from Hill to start the drive, and Carson just buried Horned Frogs on his way to pay dirt. Fantastic drive capped off by the 19-yard jaunt by Chris Carson, senior from Lilburn, Georgia's Parkview High School. And the lead is 17-6 now. There you see the total numbers on his day. And a reminder that aerial coverage this afternoon brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
Tim, you know those long extended drives we're used to seeing the opposition of Oklahoma State engage in. The quick strike capability via the air has not been there for the Cowboys. They've gotten their explosive plays on the ground. Justice doing a fine job of providing that, but they would certainly take some opportunities up top.
Matt Amendola will do the honors with the kick. He's had great depth for the most part, but Turpin will respond this time from his 5.
Nice.
He is quicker than a hiccup. Markers fly as he's spun down at the 33-yard line. And preliminary indication is holding, so that'll back it up.
Kenneth Magruder-Ederson stopped him on that.
Holding. Receiving team, number 24. 10-yard penalty. First down. Timeout.
Happened right there at the upper part of your screen. You'll see the hold. Committed by Trevoris Johnson, the running back. FS1 College Football is sponsored by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry. With Spencer Tillman and Bruce Feldman, Tim Brando. TCU begins this drive at their 10-yard line. Take away the muff punt. TCU starting position is its own 17-yard line today. Cowboys special teams have done the job. Turpin stopped at the 10.
What a great job by Trey Flowers. Open field tackle coming up from his strong safety position to play one-on-one football. And I'm telling you, he smelt it, identified it quickly, and he came up and avoided, was unblocked, made an outstanding individual play.
Turpin's in the backfield now. They swing it out to number 14, Jerrison Stewart. His first touch of the day, the sophomore from Mesquite, Texas.
And Stewart has some athleticism again from that same alignment. Flowers came in there and missed that time. Just underscores the point you were making earlier. You've got some talent here among this receiving core for the Horned Frogs. They just got to be able to surely handle the football when it's thrown their way.
Yeah, there have been a few drops, and Hill's been inaccurate a couple of times. These are easy passes to complete. Hicks has it, and he dances down the sidelines for a healthy gain out to the 32.
Hicks showing you some balance on that sideline. They'll get about an extra 14, 15 yards. That's a nice job of running.
South Lake, Texas, Carroll High School, one of the real fantastic programs that you'll find in this area. Getting to play more in front of the home folks is Kenny Hill, and there goes Kyle Hicks again. Out for another first down. Big chunks of yardage there. Cole Walterscheid makes the stop, another first down, and they go quickly.
Yeah, he needed some help from Lindsey Pinsky as well. Pipkins.
Bingo. Hill, another first down. 14, 15 yards a pop now. Kenneth Edison Magruder with a stop. And he's saying that he got the football too. And a little wolfing going on between Hill and company.
He's trying to get his helmet, and
he's got to come out of the game after losing his helmet.
Well, if he didn't take it off intentionally, I mean, he could stay in the game.
Well, I think they may be saying that the ball was fumbled. This conversation is about the potential of a fumble. Ball was taken away. They're fighting for it. He's not on the ground as yet.
Play, first down.
So it's a first down that's given. So they're going to say he was down. Forward progress stopped before the ball was taken away.
And he will be able to stay in the game
because the play ended. Yes.
Well, it was in the act of the play, and I guess he didn't take it off.
8 rushes for 79 yards for Hill. So the Horned Frogs trying to strike back with some attitude here. And Hicks is stopped at the point of attack by Edison Magruder again.
Magruder's been all over the place. That time he came from the weak side of the formation to make a play, and on the previous play that you identified, he was right in the heart of the defense. So Len Spencer is moving him around a little bit to make some plays, and he's delivering.
You see he's really struggled to get the yardage that he wants. Kyle Hicks only 38 yards on the ground. Darius Anderson is coming to the game, number 6.
And remember, Hicks is coming off a 192-yard performance against Baylor, so he told us he was emboldened and ready to play.
George Ranch High School, the freshman in the game. That pass is intercepted. Hill inaccurate again, and it's Lindsey Pipkins. And this young man out of Mansfield, Texas, comes away with a pilfer. Huge play there. Well, that's a despondent quarterback, by the way. I'm wondering if there was a mix-up on the route here.
Well, we knew that he needed to play clean. That ball looked like it came out of his hand fluttering from the beginning, so the accuracy was not there. We knew he needed to play clean, and they've done a nice job. Have Doug Meacham and Sonny Cumbie of balancing a nice dose of run play options in here for him to settle him down. He's done today what he did not do against Baylor, and that's throw an interception. Obviously affected him.
They are going to review this, I think. Whether his knee was down before the return of better than 40 yards took place. Not that the ball was picked off. And you see those interceptions, and that's been a problem for Kenny. And let's take a look and see if the knee is down for Pipkins before he takes off here.
Yeah, it's down.
Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah. The left knee was down.
That's a huge difference in terrain.
Big difference.
He did catch it, but his left knee is down.
I think the bigger story here is this whole turnovers. You saw those 11 turnovers. This Pipkins.
After further review, the intercepting player's knee was down at the 24-yard line. It'll be Oklahoma State's ball, 1st and 10. Timeout.
This is a graduate transfer. Pipkins played at the University of Louisiana Monroe before coming over as a graduate player, and he just picked up a big pick. Tuesday, the first leg of the MLS Western Conference Championship kicks off on FS1. Jermaine Jones and the Colorado Rapids take on Jordan Morris in the Seattle for a shot at the MLS Cup. It's all coming your way. The action begins at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific on FS1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Just under 6 minutes remaining. Pistol Pete and company happy with the proceedings to this point in the second half. The lead is 17-6, and Justice Hill will check in at running back as this series gets underway. They went 91 yards on 8 plays to open this half and extend their lead. They have converted big time off of turnovers this year. Second most points off of them of any team in the country. And there's a quick out to James Washington. And it looks like he may have the first down. He does at the 34. Washington, by the way, has 18 explosive plays this season. Receptions of 20 yards or more. None today. So you know they want to get number 28 unleashed here. Looking long for Lacey and a busted coverage. Look at that. He carried Nico Small about 10 yards, and he had to wait on that pass. It had a lot of air underneath it, but Rudolph gets the big completion, and Lacey has been unstoppable. 63 yards. And he takes it himself, calls his own number for the touchdown. Following Justice Hill on the read.
Jimmy, it's all about those big plays that set it up. Again, they went fast simply because they were moving the chains. Clear busted coverage there. Lacey did a nice job of plucking that ball out of space, but it was Nico Small, the safety number 2, who was out of position again. And then they switched responsibilities and let the running back lead the less likely quarterback, Rudolph, in for the score.
Grogan puts through the extra point. The senior, who's from nearby Arlington, Texas. Chris Lacey. This big play guy has been all over the place today. He waited, he brought it in, and then began to celebrate. (24-6) our score. The Cowboys have opened it up both on the ground with Carson and Hill and in the air with Chris Lacey.
You know, Tim, contrasting this team with last year's, remember Oklahoma State had proved a 10-0 and then jumped to 6th in the college football playoff rankings and then had the little falter near the end of last year. I don't see any signs of that happening here at the midpoint in November. This team looks like it's a team of destiny to me.
And Rudolph, after some struggles in the first half, has caught fire in the second. 4 of 4 for 89 yards. And this kick comes down and is retrieved by Deontay Gray. And he gets it up to the 30-yard line, a 24-yard return. Let's get a game break on that Michigan State-Ohio State game. Here's Mike Hill. Mike?
Yeah, Buckeyes second in the nation and trying to stay there, but having a heck of a time against Michigan State. Sparty tied at 10 here, but Mike Weber finds the end zone from 4 yards out. Buckeyes back out front, 17-10 late in the third quarter. Tim, Spence, back to you.
Something about that Spartans head coach that spent so much time at Ohio State.
Yep.
Well, he likes to play and get victories against them. It has not been at all the year they expected. Kyle Hicks is in the game, and the marker comes down as he's stopped by Devontae Averett at the 32-yard line.
Holding defense, number 90. 10-yard penalty at the end of the run. First down.
Motai Melee, the guilty party. I want to look at the top 10 here, Spencer. And I mention this because until this morning, you probably didn't figure the Big 12 had a shot at all, right? Well, now you do. Oklahoma State not mentioned as much as, say, Oklahoma would be mentioned. And West Virginia, by the way, at 14, you can make a strong case that they deserve to be in the top 10 more so than even Oklahoma at this stage. The truth of the matter is the Cowboys win here. Bedlam for them would mean it all in the Big 12 Conference. Hicks takes the pass underneath, stops shy of the 50, and based on what we've seen to this point, Mike Gundy's team might be the most underrated team in college football right now.
And I think he's fine with it. You can see his disposition is one where he doesn't really show much fatigue, frustration. This team right here understands the game inside and out. They look like a complete team to me right now. Again, they've redefined and accepted that scoring or giving up yards on defense doesn't mean the end of the world. Glenn Spencer's done a fine job with this defense. The offense, well, they're putting on a show here today, winning how and when they need to.
DeArce takes the pass, and the LSU transfer stop at the 41-yard line. TCU needs to not only score, but score with pace.
You know, Tim, I like to look at offenses and ascribe this whole idea of the crisis or a difficult defense exposes who you are. It doesn't make you any better. It's just going to show you exactly where you are. And Gary Patterson has come out with a very effective defensive plan. And Oklahoma State, to its credit, has found a way to win in spite of it.
Hicks keeps those legs churning, but a lot of gang tackling taking place. Averett stood him up, and then he got some help from some other Cowboys, including Jordan Stearns, number 13.
I don't mean to imply anything other than the fact that they've responded well. We've got a lot of football to play yet, and certainly TCU has enough talent to mount a comeback. But again, to me, a team that can win and turn the anatomy of winning around in a moment, I mean, that's what football is all about. It's about adjustments in real time.
They're 4 of 11 on third down conversions, TCU today. This is 3rd and 2. And they stand up Kyle Hicks. He may have gotten a yard, but that's all. Vincent Taylor, my goodness, what an impact he's had. And you make a case that after that blocked extra point, the game changed, and it was his 4th block of the year.
He just doesn't lose individual battles. And again, they charge him with the responsibility against an overload look. I'm not sure why they ran it into the teeth of that, but with Vincent Taylor there,
they're going for it.
Nothing.
4th down and a yard to go. Big play here. Hicks again comes in as the Wildcat quarterback. This time he does get the first down inside the 35 to the 34. We'll look back, though, Spencer, at the end of that half if this score holds up. And those 3 plays near the goal line that did not work for Gary Patterson as a turning point in this game, given what's happened here in the early stages.
No question that. And then the turnovers. I think Oklahoma State now with 22. They forced 22 turnovers on the season. That's over 2.1 turnovers per game. And they've taken a couple of those back for touchdowns. Not today, but just shows you how active this stop unit is.
There's an interesting formation. They decide to go wide to the wide side of the field and nothing doing. Calvin Bundage,
oh my gosh,
he played that really well, did number 1.
Well, Bundage came up in there, and you can see he was like a shot among a bunch of static bodies in a single place. Number 1 is going to come up from this position right here and make an outstanding play, running through 2 would-be blockers to make an outstanding play on the defensive side of the ball. That's fantastic. Diagnosing that play and then finishing it off.
Hill to Desmond White, and again a speed merchant.
Yep.
Much like Turpin, he gets it to the 26-yard line, just shy of the 25.
Yeah, and Trey Flowers from his safety position gave him every credit for that speed, but still just blew by him quick as a hiccup. Man, that speed and athleticism with White there.
3rd down, call it a long 2 with Hicks the setback. Jalen Austin, number 15, who's had a drop today, is down at the bottom of your screen. Taj Williams, who they've not been able to target as much as they'd like.
Pressure's
to the top.
coming here.
Yep, here it is. And they go to Austin on the slant, and he's got it for a first down inside the 15 to the 14. Ramon Richards wraps him up.
Well, credit for throwing for Kenny Hill to the right place away from the pressure that was coming from the field.
They weren't set up defensively there. Diarce gets it and forges ahead inside the 10. They'll mark him out around the 7-yard line, it appears. So it'll be 2nd down and 2 from the 7.
Doug Meacham taking a steady dribble. We're holding a walk approach.
Clock winding down here in the 3rd quarter. Cowboys only led by 4 at halftime. 2 touchdowns, one a drive of 91 yards to open this half. Hicks. Again, outstanding defensive work done by Ramon Richards, coming up in space to make sure he made that play one-on-one against the elusive running back.
You know, they usually put him in the field corner position, but he's on the short side of the field here. Works to his advantage because there's not as much room to navigate. He's in a phone booth, but he still has to make a great play, and Richards certainly did.
3rd down and inches coming up, and again they will go Wildcat again with Hicks moving in at quarterback.
We got our friend
Travorce Johnson back there too. And we've got a timeout taken by the Cowboys after seeing that alignment on 3rd down and inches. Well, don't forget, tomorrow, start your Sunday with Fox NFL Kickoff and America's #1 pregame show. Then Jay Cutler and the Bears battle Odell Beckham Jr. and the Giants or other regional action. Coverage begins tomorrow at 11 Eastern, only on Fox. It's been a long time, Spencer, since the road team has won in this series.
Well, it's been a kind of a quirky schedule. You know, I think they took over the schedule as we look at those beautiful shots down the road, Timmy.
They will be home, by the way, the Cowboys home, Jerry Jones's Palace, to the Big 12 championship game, which will be on Fox beginning next year, 2017. We'll have it for you, and we look very much forward to that day. Saw Bob Bowlesby, the commissioner of the Big 12,
good to see him
on the field earlier today. I said, it looks like your conference may not be dead yet. He smiled. And the events of last weekend and certainly Thursday night, Louisville going down, has opened the door. Kenny Hill has come in at quarterback after the timeout taken by the Cowboys. And Kyle Hicks is now with him in the backfield on 3rd and inches. Nothing cute here, but he is stoned at the line of scrimmage. I don't know that he got it. I think he was shy of the first down by almost a full yard. Jarrell Owens makes the stop, so they'll have something to think about when we come to the other side of the field to open the 4th quarter. It will be 4th and a yard when we come back. This just in to the rest of the college football world. Oklahoma State is in it to win it and maybe even a championship run. Oklahoma State pitched a shutout in the 3rd, but now it's 4th and inches, and they are going to go with Kyle Hicks again in the Wildcat on 4th down, and
don't get it.
Vincent Taylor, Jarrell Owens, Jordan Stearns. And I go back to why. I go back to the same thing I said towards the end of the first half. You've got a quarterback that's a threat.
Well, you're not going to win that battle on the zero technique, the guy over the center. Again, whether or not Vincent Taylor was the guy responsible, he's occupying 2 people. The numbers don't work in your advantage in that particular case. I don't understand.
It's one less guy to defend, Spencer.
Yeah,
I mean, Kenny Hill is a dual threat quarterback.
Yeah, and again, the pocket, your options down here for him, that type of quarterback, actually expand and not constrict. I understand the logic if you've got a conventional guy in the game, but he's not a conventional quarterback.
Justice Hill is in the backfield, and Oklahoma State has seized control of this with their red zone defense. And we've got a marker down pre-snap. Looks like a false start. You know, think about it.
Offense, number 74. Half the distance to the goal. It's 1st down.
That's Michael Wilson. They only had 83 yards for most of the first half, Spencer, TCU. They have 207 yards since the last drive of the half in the 3rd quarter. And I think about that. All of that yardage amassed, but when they've gotten into the scoring zone, Glenn Spencer's defense has denied them, stoned them on 3rd and 4th and short many times over. Rudolph going for Washington, incomplete. That ball hung up a little bit, and Anthony Tejada was able to make a fine defensive play.
Tim, the postscript on that previous thought you made, I'm not so sure as we look at this ball coming up just a little bit short. Number 28 usually goes up and makes those 50-50 catches, a little short there. I'm not so much as assured that it was a tremendous defensive effort as much as it was an offense poor scheme and poor decisions. It just, they ran right into the teeth of the defense.
2nd and 13. Rudolph. There's a mix-up there. His receiver, Seals, pulled up as though it was a curl, and he had him streaking down the sidelines on a fade route. 3rd down and 13 coming up.
Seals along with McCleskey, Jalen McCleskey and company are outstanding receivers in this group right here that's usually putting up huge numbers.
It's a must stop, really, from a defensive standpoint for TCU. They need a stop on this play, get good field position, and finally convert. Rudolph.
A lot of time.
He goes to the tight end.
This guy's tough, too.
Jarwin. Does he have it? He's got the 1st down and more. And a late flag comes down as he's hit along the sidelines at the 28-yard line. Josh Caraway, after a 25-yard pickup, we may tack more on.
Well, Coach Patterson is frustrated, and I'm going to tell you, 47, Blake Jarwin, the tight end / H-back. Classic, if you pro folks out there, Frank Wycheck kind of started this whole notion some years ago. It is a tough matchup for a linebacker and especially for a smaller cornerback to defend him. Once he got seated with that ball, I knew it was going to be a big play. It's tough to bring him down in space.
Reggie Smith will have the call.
There is no foul for a late hit out of bounds, first down.
Well, that's a break for TCU.
Yep.
I guess there was some discussion as to intent or momentum on the play, so no flag, no additional yardage, but still a first down at a time when TCU really needed a stop and good field position on a punt. Carson, and he's getting better as the game goes on. And he is lathered up and running big. Huge gain for Carson. Traven Howard makes the stop, 24-yard pickup.
I don't think they're going to be any rush right now. I think they feel like they're in control. They're going to make sure they get in the right play. Usually if they're moving the ball, they're quick and they want to go fast in tempo. I think Mike Gundy is a brilliant coach. He's going to pace these guys slow now and not be in a big rush.
Two guys with 100 yards rushing now on the day. Hill and Carson. Quick out pattern to Jalen McCluskey.
So now you've got a second down and about 7. This for them is a medium, so they can run or pass on this, and it's going to be interesting to see if they try to bring pressure to affect the quarterback here.
Well, if they do and they guess wrong, Hill could burst quickly.
Here comes the pressure look here.
We shall see. Play fake to Hill, and it's Washington on a comebacker. He shied the first down by less than a yard. Tejada with a short tackle.
He needed to have a short tackle because he's out there on an island on the most explosive, only returning 1,000-yard receiver in the conference.
Hill will tote it. Bouncing off tacklers. Finally run down at the 25-yard line by Caraway.
What you say, Hornet? Booker T. Washington Hornet blasting off that left side, showing you vision and running through arm tackles. And that's a defensive end who he takes for a line for an additional 7 yards after contact. Man, that's where that 41-inch vertical explosiveness will carry you through.
Listen, I'm telling you, Carson got well just in time, and Justice Hill's experience gained while Carson was injured has only made this team more difficult to stop in the latter stages of this season. This is not at all the same team Oklahoma State was in October and late November. Carson, look at that. And it's going to take 2 or 3 to get them down. Late fumble, and I believe on top of it was
Brad.
Yeah, that's Lundblade, the center. Lundblade 71 got on top of it.
Yeah, watch Lundblade. The ball's definitely going to come out. You're going to see number 71.
Oops.
Alert. Jump in there and get on top of that ball.
Ty Summers knocked it away. 42.
Nice job by the center being alert and staying engaged downfield.
At the 21-yard line now.
Those centers usually are the most cerebral guys on that front, and that's part of the reason why they're smart. Johnny on the spot.
Carson, look at that hole. Huge. And he takes advantage of it with a quick burst down to the 11-yard line of TCU.
Tarvin Howard, the Sam linebacker, went for a ride with him, and he showed you. 32 just had to hang on. That's all he could do. He's manning that middle linebacker position and the strong side at Sam, but boy, Carson just ran a rough shot right over him.
Justice Hill checks back in. It's been quite a combination on this drive. He's been all on the ground for the most part.
Trying to burn that clock.
And now it's going to be Rudolph all the way for the touchdown. His second rushing touchdown, and Spence, that was a beautiful drive orchestrated by the quarterback and Mike Yurcich. His play calling was magnificent in that series.
Yeah, Veach, Zach was in there, number 86, leading the way for him again. That whole play series set up by Chris Carson and Justice Hill doing the lion's share of the carries, but when they paid it off in the end, twice today now, it's the quarterback.
Beautiful read. It was a beautiful read by Rudolph.
Yes, it was.
Rogan with the extra point. Well, the Sooners are going to be playing the Mountaineers tonight, and much will be said about the importance of that game. But I got some other news for you. There's a team that played a little earlier in the day that's also from the state of Oklahoma that has plenty to say about the outcome of the Big 12 championship. It, too, is their destiny. (31-6) our score, and another magnificent performance by the Cowboys. Mason Rudolph, and Bruce Feldman has more.
Tim, Mike Gundy talked about how much Mason Rudolph had improved his footwork and working inside the pocket, but today was a big challenge for him because he'd been dramatically better at home versus the road. At home in the last 2 years, 34 touchdowns, only 4 picks. In games on the road, 11 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Today, he's accounted for 3 touchdowns, hasn't turned it over once, and has been in complete control against a really tough defense.
Absolutely. And they've worn them down with the combination of the 2 backs and then the moxie of Mason Rudolph, as you see Cavante Turpin's return just out to the 20-yard line. Well, tonight, UFC Fight Night on FS1, a battle of light heavyweight contenders. Knockout artist Ryan Bader will face off against veteran Antonio Nogueira, plus Thomas Alameda will take on Albert Morales. It's all on UFC Fight Night tonight, starting at 7 Eastern on FS1. But they were talking about road versus home, as Bruce was. Not since 1991. The home team hasn't lost in the Oklahoma State TCU series since 91. That's a 6-game stretch during which the average margin of victory was 16 points. So this is big news in the history of this series between these 2 teams, going all the way back long before TCU had made it into the Big 12.
Yeah.
They were playing in other leagues but playing against one another. There's a pass underneath to Cavante Turpin out to the 26-yard line.
Yeah, with this caveat, I'll say again, the more recent, since joining this conference, there was a quirk in the schedule when they assumed Texas A&M's schedule in the rotation, where most of those games were played in this series at Stillwater.
That's right.
So it's kind of a bit of a misleading in terms of recent history.
That pass is intercepted by Justin Phillips. That's the kid that had played for Chad Whitener and played so well a week ago. Redshirt sophomore from Pearland, Texas.
That's 23 now forced turnovers for the Oklahoma State. Glenn Spencer's charges on the defensive side of the ball, and I'm telling you, that's just a beat on the ball. Unbelievable ball hawking by this. Actually, double coverage on the outside and playing underneath. That's just fantastic. Poor decision. Nice job of defense.
Second interception of the day for Hill, his 12th of the season. You know, going back to TCU, they were in the same position that Oklahoma State is in today for the most part last year, and the role has reversed this season. And the Cowboys had so much to play for. Some would argue TCU still trying to get bowl eligible. They'll have that chance against Texas the afternoon after Thanksgiving. But the reality is, a lot of people felt TCU was poised to pull off an upset today and make life easier for either West Virginia or Oklahoma, whoever wins tonight at Mountaineer Field. They go reverse to Washington.
He goes.
Gets away from Caraway, who disrupted that play, and Nico Small will usher him out of bounds. So Gundy coming back with a little bit of double reverse action with a nice healthy lead. Listen, this is about impressing people now, and remember, you've got to do your best in the beauty pageant that is the college football playoff to win, and win decisively. Nick Orr is the injured Horned Frog at the 30-yard line. He and Lacey were tied up. He is still on the ground and being tended to. We'll take a quick break and come back and discuss the situation at hand for Oklahoma State nationally. FS1 College Football is sponsored by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry. We welcome you back to TCU. Oklahoma State in control of this one. Spencer, I don't think there's any question now. We can look ahead to Bedlam for Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Oklahoma's got to take care of business tonight against West Virginia. But how far could this team ascend with a win, an impressive win like this, and the carnage that could be in front of them?
Well, I've been impressed by the anatomy of this win. Remember, Gary Patterson is one of the brightest defensive minds who've had 2 weeks to prepare. He brought some wrinkles along the way, some timed blitz, which they don't do a lot of, but Oklahoma State has had an answer for each one of them. The anatomy of this win, if it should take place, is what I'm most impressed with. They'll do whatever is necessary to be able to win. Not all teams can do that.
All right, but let's face it. All right, Oklahoma's perception is greater than that of Oklahoma State.
No question.
This is an era of brand names mattering. This is a committee that is influenced by history and tradition as well as the anatomy of any victory.
Listen, you're talking to the choir here on that whole notion of tradition being the currency of college football. I get it. What I'm looking at is through the prism of what this team came in this year with, everyone on the offensive line returning, a quarterback that threw for over 3,700 yards in a platoon capacity, coming back with the league's only 1,000-yard receiver. This is a quality team that you're looking at right here in Oklahoma State. I mean, this is an unbelievable anatomy here.
He's ahead for a first down after that. Denzel Johnson making the stop. I think they're going to give him the line to make, and that should be a first down. I mean, listen, a lot of people had this league dead and buried.
Yep.
And there's a lot of football to be played. That pass incomplete might have been Washington, and a flag is down as well. But regardless of what happens tonight at Mountaineer Field.
Illegal formation offense. Number 77 was lined up in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Oklahoma State is going to play in Norman on December the 3rd on Championship Saturday, when the Big Ten and the Pac-12 will have already played their title game on that Friday. It's a regular season game, but it's a de facto Big 12 championship provided Oklahoma wins tonight. If they don't win tonight, Oklahoma State still owns the tiebreaker over West Virginia because they beat them head-to-head.
Absolutely.
And there's Justice Hill, stopped at the line of scrimmage. So that's what is at stake and why this game was so very important to the Cowboys' hopes. Remember, Oklahoma is in position to win out in the conference. But Oklahoma State controls their destiny by virtue of beating West Virginia head-to-head. Washington. Well, you got a real good look at that. It was well defended, though, by Jeff Gladney. The freshman's been picked on quite a bit today, and he stood ground well that time.
Gladney was there, but I also think when that shaded area got down there, the contrast is really what got the receiver when he got in the end zone. I think that was as much of the challenge as anything else on that play, and Washington just really couldn't make the adjustment on that play.
Washington, a big play guy, particularly after yards after the catch. He's been shut down really the last couple of weeks. He did give a big 80-yarder last week against Texas Tech. And ahead for about 26, 27-yard line. He gets ahead to Ty Summers, making the stop, number 42.
Ty was there, and then Denzel Johnson, the strong safety, came up and made a miss. But again, showing you some of the athleticism of this tandem at running back for Mike Gundy, able to make guys miss.
I think they're going to bring on Grogan for a field goal try, which would be 45 yards to push this lead to 28. Five weeks ago, he broke the Oklahoma State scoring record, passing Dan Bailey. That time he hooked it, and it'll be no good.
Wow.
So TCU will take over as Grogan comes up empty, but they have control of this one, as well as their destiny in the Big 12 Conference. 8 minutes left in Fort Worth. 31-6 our score, and with 8 minutes left, Sonny Cumbie and Doug Meacham have decided to make a change at quarterback. Forrest Sawyer, the sophomore from Fort Worth, has come into the game. This one goes the other way on a reverse action to Isaiah Graham as he was running the sweep.
Charlon Weber did a nice job of staying home, number 89, to shut that down in a hurry and trying to get something going.
By the way, if you were wondering, the last time TCU has been held to under 10, it happened in 2013. Texas beat them 30-7. And they were held to very few points in the game with SMU in the early stages. And that's Kyle Hicks ahead to about the 30-yard line. Stopped by Moncrief, 36.
Sawyer wants to go up pace and tempo. I remember him last year, his only career start, 2015 against Oklahoma. He was 8 for 18, 107 yards, and had 3 interceptions.
He did come in and play fairly well in that overtime with Texas Tech after Hill was benched. That pass is caught at the 42-yard line by Emmanuel Porter. Hill had thrown his 10th interception of the year, and he came in and performed admirably. 11 yards to Darius Anderson is now making his way out there, and he's in the backfield to join Sawyer. 1st and 10. Flags down, pre-snap.
Illegal substitution, 12 men on defense. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
When you think about this performance by Mike Gundy's team today, and there are reasons why guys like Mason Rudolph are successful. So were guys like Sam Bradford at Oklahoma, and Bryce Petty, Robert Griffin III, Brandon Whedon, of course, formerly of Oklahoma State. These guys have made tremendous inroads at the next level. And I'm going to tell you, I think Rudolph, based on what you said, the platoon system of a year ago, Spencer Sawyer is dumped by DeQuinton Osborne, number 91. I'm going to suggest that this guy is just shooting up with draft experts like a lightning rod right now.
No question. He has been on a steady trajectory. Obviously, Walsh was the second half of that platoon who came in to do the dirty work once they got inside the green area and inside the red zone. But, you know, the promise from at the quarterback position from Rudolph has been there all along. And he just continues to progress, continues to get better. Great leader, sharp kid, makes quality decisions. And as this running game continues to mature, Tim, everything you said about how dangerous this team can be becomes even more real. As I said,
he's got a lot more. He's got more in his arsenal now with both Carson and Hill, accomplished running backs. They were 2 100-plus yard rushers today. Sawyer on the run finds an open receiver. That's Emmanuel Porter down at the 25-yard line.
They're still competing downstairs. And it's good to see both sides. There's no quitting these Gary Patterson coach teams.
21 yards on that pickup. Actually, give him the 26-yard line. That's where they're scrimmaging from. And Darius Anderson back in the game at running back. Anderson down to the 21. Kenneth Edison Magruder with the tackle.
You know, a lot of time with Sawyer or any quarterback for that matter, you're just basically counting numbers in the box. That read probably should have took him to the outside and kept that himself. And again, that's the difference between Kenny Hill and Sawyer. One is going to be looking to run the ball, the other not so much.
Clock ticking, under 5 minutes remaining. Forrest Sawyer. That one was tipped at the line of scrimmage.
Darren Daniels did a nice job of getting his hands up in the air.
79.
Yeah. Big dude, 305, man. Those guys don't jump very high, but they can get their hands up.
Get your big mid up, big fella. Well, there you see the numbers on Kenny Hill, and another enigmatic performance in many ways for him. I think the inability to get that passing game going. They were just shut down. Taj Williams just wasn't open. They could not get either him or Cavante Turpin or Diarce in positions where there was space. That pass is incomplete.
Well, that pass,
Daniel Welsh, the intended receiver, the senior from San Diego.
Yeah, Welsh just dropped that. And again, that's been the narrative. We've seen at least 2 drops today. Possibly this is the 3rd. And this has been the narrative all year long. They just do not have, besides Taj, that out-pitch receiver on this team.
Sawyer from All Saints Episcopal High in Fort Worth. And on 4th and 6, they'll try to keep this drive alive. Under pressure and flushed. That pass was thrown a little too low. Intended for Deontay Gray, and it goes over on downs. Cowboys have made their case. Something for the committee to think about. You know, they get together in Dallas, Bill Hancock and the boys.
Every week.
Kirby Hocutt, the spokesperson for the committee. I think he's going to be hearing from some folks about the people in Stillwater.
You think?
Yeah. Spencer, let's take a look at the Nissan Heisman Watch. What do you have this week?
I had a little bit of an order change. Jalen Hurts, to me, I think is deserving to be in that spot. He doesn't have the metrics or the numbers that all of those other guys at the quarterback position have. But if he runs the table and they win the national title, he'll be the first freshman in college football history to go wire to wire, true freshman, and win a national championship. Jamel Holloway was the only other one to do it. He came in 2 games, replacing Fox's own Troy Aikman.
Yeah, that's right.
Back in the day.
Justice Hill ahead for about a yard, and that's it. Stopped by Sammy Douglas there, number 35. Well, you can make a case that one of the reasons Derrick Henry won it was because he was the best player on the best team. They don't have anything remotely close to a Derrick Henry in that backfield, and Hurts has been able to manifest enough yardage on the ground to make up for the lack of a home run hitter in the passing game. No Amari Cooper and no running back like a Derrick Henry.
Well, he's got an outstanding offensive coordinator, Mike Kiffin, that helps him out.
There's Hill, just padding those numbers. What a performance this young man has put on. Booker T. Washington High School's finest from down in Tulsa, living on Tulsa time. 23 yards this time.
Did you see that jump cut right there in that hole? I mean, that right there is outstanding footwork right there. Tremendous job of getting extra yardage after that. But I'm telling you, man, he showed you some tremendous inside, outside rushing.
Look at that.
2 100-yard rushers and a 100-yard receiver. Outstanding.
First time in school history on the road. That's quite a performance. 16 rushes, 154 yards now for Justice Hill. Now it's time for Carson. Pick your poison, right?
Yeah,
Just pick your poison.
They've got an internal battle going on, and I think that's healthy. When you can create competition context within your unit, everybody wins in that situation.
All right, he's got 126 yards on 16 carries. Justice Hill has 154 on the same number of carries.
And you know they'll be bragging about that difference right there. It took you more to do what I did. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's all good, man. That's what you look for. Most coaches are always looking for natural competition context, and so that the team can police itself. Sometimes these young kids get complacent when they don't have anyone pushing them.
Carson again. Look at that. And that. I submit for your approval this.
Timmy, this is what I call a guy that make you change your mind. When you come and stick your nose up there like Nick Gore did on that play, you better put a couple of extra bricks in your hind parts, because this guy runs with pad level, and he's coming after you, big boy. Well, that's great. That's outstanding.
Woo! Think he knows the number is 154? I got to catch the freshman here.
They're competing, man.
Yeah, he's up to 146 now, but he's out of the game. Rennie Childs checks in, number 23. And he'll tote it down to the 22-yard line. Well, aerial coverage today, we've really enjoyed having these magnificent shots of the Fort Worth metropolitan area. and even some of Dallas if we had the wide lens going. Brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
I got it.
By the way, Rennie Childs had 6 rushing touchdowns in only a 2-week stretch against Pitt and Baylor in September, but only 1 touchdown in the other 8 games. So it's not as if this young man hasn't been effective. Very experienced talent. They've always had great running backs at Oklahoma State. I mean, I remember, Spencer, that's Chris Bradley making the stop. When he was quarterbacking, Mike Gundy, he had not just Barry Sanders, but Thurman Thomas and a young man named Garrett Limerick who got hurt.
Yep.
That was an incredible talent.
Well, you remember Ernest Anderson,
and
too,
Ernest
right?
Anderson was also an outstanding back. Mighty Mike that they had at one time. Pat Jones was head coach, and now Mike has become the winningest coach, passing Pat, who's a big favorite among many people in college ball, and of course with the Dallas Cowboys for so long, along with Larry Lacewell and Barry Switzer, among others.
Well, I remember before Barry Sanders broke on the scene, Thurman Thomas was the starting quarterback.
Yes, he was. Yep.
Running back, and Barry Switzer came in a meeting, and he saw us in the back of the room, and he's looking at film over our shoulder, and he said, you know, Gary, he's talking to Gary Gibbs, our defensive coordinator. He says, that's not the guy you need to be worried about. It's this other guy, number 20, you need to be worried about. Remember now, at the time, Barry Sanders was a return guy.
Right, just a return guy. He and the Limerick kid. Yeah. The game is over, and Oklahoma State has now put themselves in a position to play for the Big 12 championship in Bedlam on December the 3rd. In a matchup that could be memorable, provided Oklahoma win tonight in Morgantown as the Big 12 title takes some shape. We'll be back to Fort Worth to wrap it up in just a moment. Stay right where you are. Mason Rudolph and company leave with a huge win. Oklahoma State amassed 541 yards of offense and 28 first downs, but their defense was suffocating today as well as they beat TCU and set themselves up for a possible Big 12 conference championship and maybe some postseason conversation that goes beyond that where 4 teams are concerned. Moments ago, our Bruce Feldman chatted with Mike Gundy.
Mike, there's a perception outside this conference that they don't play defense here. You guys came into TCU, held them to 6 points. What does it say about Oklahoma State?
Well, this is as good a defensive game as we played in a long time, and really proud of our coaching staff. The adjustments, our guys played hard. We tackled well. We were able to contain the quarterback. And then on the other side of the ball, our offensive line's come a long way.
Go
ahead.
I know last year you guys were second to last in the conference in rushing. The run game really stepped up. It looked a little like old Oklahoma State with those guys. How did it feel to you?
You know, it's interesting you said that. In the end of the game, I had mentioned, I said, it's the way we used to finish games 6-8 years ago. And so I'm really proud of our staff, really proud of our players. We've worked really hard on the running game. We didn't turn very many guys loose, and we're getting fantastic plays by our running backs.
Thanks, Mike. Back to you guys.
All right, Bruce, thank you. A very impressive performance. And Spencer, he said 6 or 8 years ago, I'd take it further back. When you've got 2 or 3 now, and Childs made some pretty good contributions late too. That was an amazing display.
Yeah.
I mean, they decimated a TCU defense that's been the calling card of Gary Patterson for quite some time.
Hill and Carson, the tandem at running back, are to get the Lions credit of the share of what they did, but it was that offensive line to me. All of them are returning starters that did it. 154 yards, Justice Hill, complemented by 146 by Chris Carson. That tandem, kind of the thunder and lightning, bigger. And then Justice showing you the athleticism and the burst and that 41-inch vertical jump that we talked about. Then Carson showing you the physicality, running through players with pad level and intentionality. Tim, to watch those two run, again, it was hearkening back to the old days when we used to see Thurman Thomas and Barry Sanders and company do what they did every Saturday.
It made the life for Mason Rudolph a little bit easier, no doubt about that. And Bruce Feldman, just a moment ago, chatted with Mason.
Mason, you guys have had some struggles in the past on the road, but today you guys dominated. What clicked today?
I think our defense played great all day. Got us, a lot of key turnovers there in the second half. Really proud of those guys, and combine that with running the ball for over 300 yards. It was big time, and really proud of those guys up front.
I know you guys are a little further down in the rankings, coming in at number 11. Do you feel like this was any kind of statement to the playoff committee today?
You know, I think we just control what we can control, and we played our butts off, and really proud of our team, and we're looking forward to going into an off week, getting healthy, and then playing for a Big 12 championship. So that's all we're worried about.
Thanks, Mason. Back to you guys.
May have been a little slip of the tongue, but by the way, there are only 10 teams in the Big 12. Listen, they probably have to be Oklahoma fans tonight because they get to play them.
Sets them up.
It sets them up in a great way. If it is the guys from Morgantown, they hold the tiebreaker against them because they beat them head-to-head. But, in truth, let's face it, beating Oklahoma for Bedlam in Norman, that's going to jettison you where the committee's concerned if there are any other upsets between now and the end of the season.
Listen, Oklahoma's Oklahoma. We know that tradition is the currency of this game, and they are what they are. We saw what the impact of that Louisville game actually had in terms of that loss now to Houston doesn't really look that bad.
True.
And so they get elevated. But if you can knock off Oklahoma in Norman to close the season out, I'm telling you, facilities, all of the advantages they've made over the years, that's a pretty good ball club.
Who do you like tonight in that Oklahoma-West Virginia game? I want to put you on the spot.
Well, I think there's a lot that's swirling around West Virginia right now. I think Oklahoma on their run is playing pretty impressive ball right now. If they can defend the pass, Oklahoma should win that one.
If that happens, Bedlam on December 3rd will become another championship, albeit a regular season game, on the same day as the Big Ten championship, the SEC championship, and the Pac-12 will have already been put in the books on Friday, December the 2nd. For Spencer Tillman, Bruce Feldman, our entire crew, today's game produced by Eric Billigmeyer and directed by Doug Freeman. Tim Brando saying so long. Let's get you out to Justin Cutrer and Petros Papadakis right now.